This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9:01 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, nearly 3 out of 4 Utah homeowners have an interest rate that's 4% or lower. Experts say that's leading people who want to move to stay right where they are. Katie Moret tells KSL TV her family has been looking to upgrade, but
we just couldn't afford anything, even the ones that are similar sized houses. The only thing we could move into would be smaller than what we have.
Interest rates are currently around 6.5%. One local expert thinks more people will be willing to buy when interest rates finally drop. UTA is starting construction on the Mid-Valley Express, the electric bus route that will connect Murray, Taylorsville, and West Valley City. It's expected to cost $100 million to build, with nearly 65% being funded by the Federal Transit Administration, state support, and land donations. It should be finished by fall of 2026 and will be free to ride for the first 5 years. Our top national story now. Concerns about mosquito-borne illnesses are amplified this week after a person died from Eastern equine encephalitis in New Hampshire. It's a rare but potentially deadly disease that has health officials all over the Northeast spraying pesticides trying to curb the mosquito population. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 31 points right now. We're at 41,274. We've got a beautiful day in store. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time now, 9:02.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
We have emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, this is due to still really slow stop-and-go traffic coming out of Ogden, southbound I-15 from 31st Street down into Roy. A crash is mostly cleared, but there's still some vehicles over, partially blocking the right lane right near 5600 South in Roy. And then we've got a new incident on the 201 freeway. This is eastbound. Right before you get to the I-15 split after 900 West, you've got a left lane and shoulder blocked with a disabled vehicle. That has traffic at a crawl all the way back to Redwood Road. And then northbound I-15 still stop and go coming out of Utah County all the way up to the South Interchange in Midvale. The Hidden Road Savings event is going on now. Save up to $120 on select Michelin tires now through September 29th after mail-in rebates and instant savings. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be another sunny, warm day, a high of 87 degrees. Right now, 79 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I was a little caught off guard, Dave, when I woke up this morning and realized that there was a rather long meeting yesterday just a little bit north of us, up in North Salt Lake, and the controversy is over plans for a homeless shelter pretty close to a neighborhood. One of the neighbors who attended this meeting said it's just really close to her house.
The biggest problem that I'm seeing whenever a homeless shelter redesign or building is going to go up, it's all about planning. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
And we're going to go in depth in the 10 o'clock hour on this homeless shelter plan in North Salt Lake. You know, for years it's been Salt Lake City that has mainly been the main facility or housed the main facility for homeless. That's been spread out over the years, but now North Salt Lake is looking at getting one. Residents worry about a number of things. They worry about how close it would be to their homes and if encampments would go up when there aren't enough beds. Now, I listened to a lot of this public meeting. It was 2 hours long. I thought both neighbors and county leaders are approaching this with compassion, with concern, and also with an understanding that finding out a shelter down the street is in the works. It's difficult for residents.
We always have 14 cities that think the 15th city is the best location.
And that is so true. We all bear the responsibility of caring for the homeless. There's no question. There's no question that Salt Lake has carried the burden more than anybody else. But there are some real planning issues that comes down to this. If you buy a house and then all of a sudden a homeless shelter pops up, that affects your neighborhood. You should have known that. If we planned it and people understood the situation, then that might impact who buys and where you buy your home. But we do a bad job of planning, and then we just end up plopping it down in the middle of nowhere.
Countdown. 2.
Yeah, I saw photos this morning of a car that had this windshield smashed in, and the bumper wasn't totally crushed, but there was a good dent in the front end of that Acura. And then I learned that it was 3 teen girls, reportedly all on the same electric bike, who made a turn, and the car couldn't stop. And this just really brings to light to me the dangers. And I hope these girls are going to be okay. Last word that they were doing okay. They were all taken to the hospital. I think this really highlights the dangers of electric bikes on our streets and with teenagers on them.
One of those kids was taken by helicopter to the hospital. So it's a conversation that we need to have often because e-bikes have become extremely affordable and extremely popular, and kids love them. But it's not just kids. It's adults. It's retirees. if you're buying a bike now, the likelihood is it's an e-bike, right? But the difference between e-bikes is night and day. Some are barely e-bikes, others are basically motorcycles, and we have to know which one is appropriate for us.
Launch countdown 1.
The U.S. Surgeon General issued a CDC advisory for parents. If you're stressed, you are stressed, actually, warning that parents and stress is impacting your kids. I appreciated the acknowledgement when I heard Tim and Amanda reporting on this new CDC advisory this morning for parents that, it's stressful. Thank you. I'm so glad somebody acknowledged this. But beyond that, he also outlines solutions. And we're going to find out if any of these solutions that he's pitching to reduce your stress, parents, suits your fancy.
Parents report more stress compared to other adults. In fact, 41% of parents say that most days they are so stressed they cannot function.
So stressful. Yes, no question. Being a parent is stressful. This is not brand new news for anybody that is a parent. I also think we heap a lot of that stress onto ourselves with high expectations.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Yeah, this is certainly a big deal for a lot of parents.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
And that is stress. And the stress of parenting. And I think part of the compounding factor about the stress, Dave, is we feel like we're alone. We feel like we're alone in this. And when somebody finally acknowledges, and today it was the U.S. Surgeon General saying that stress is impacting parents, it's impacting your mental health, it is impacting the way you function, and the domino effect of that is it is impacting your children. So thank you to the U.S. Surgeon General from this mama for acknowledging the 30 years of stress. Well, think about all of the stress we go through. I mean, I was stressed during my pregnancy because we had some medical issues, our first pregnancy. And then you become stressed about whether your child is going to thrive. You become stressed nowadays. You become stressed about social media and all of the access the outside world has to your children.
Yeah, I think there's some real stress, and you mentioned some of those. It's well-earned stress. There's also a lot of unnecessary stress that I've learned over the years that when I schedule my kid from the minute he finishes school to the minute he goes to bed and heap upon these huge expectations of good grades and excelling in everything he does and no free time, I wonder, why am I so stressed out running kids from thing to thing to thing to thing? Well, it's because I'm partially to blame. And the way I've reduced my stress over the years is I've simplified our lives, and I haven't tried to put my kids into every single thing. I've done the extremes of both, right? Where they're scheduled every waking minute, and then the other time when they're probably bored as well. So I'm trying to find that perfect balance, but I can tell you, a lot of my stress, self-imposed.
Straight ahead, he didn't just acknowledge that parents are stressed. The Surgeon General outlined a plan to help fix it. Many of these ideas involve government intervention. But I don't think it always has to involve government intervention. I think there can be some grandparent intervention as well. But we're going to go over that to see if any of his pitches work for you.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Hello, it's Congressman Blakemore here. It's my honor to represent the men and women at Hill Air Force Base and advocate for Northern Utah's defense community. This year, I was grateful to secure several wins for Hill in the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2025, including a pay raise for junior uniformed airmen, authorization for 2 military construction projects, and full funding for the Sentinel program, which will provide thousands of Utah jobs, modernize our ground-based intercontinental ballistic missile program, and usher in a new era of nuclear deterrence. My bill called the Retained Skilled Veterans Act was also included in the NDAA to remove the arbitrary 180-day waiting period for veterans who are seeking to transition to civilian service at the DoD after their time in uniform. My team and I are working hard, coordinating with Hill Air Force Base leadership and finding solutions to their needs and challenges. It's an honor to serve those who serve our nation, and I encourage all our service members and veterans to reach out at blakemore.house.gov if we can be assistance to you. Paid for with official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The Cougars are back in the business of rivalry.
We have TCU and Baylor, but at the top is Utah and BYU.
The big time in the Big 12 just got bigger.
The Cougars win it! The Cougars win it! And here come the fans!
3 days to the season kickoff. BYU, Southern Illinois. Listen to Cougar Tracks for updates each day. 7:55 in the morning and 5:55 in the afternoon on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Hi, welcome to Staples.
Hi, my son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and a notebook for every subject.
Okay, no problem. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school.
Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue.
You got it.
And markers?
Of course.
Oh, geez.
Might I suggest 2 carts?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and 2-pocket poly folders are only 50 cents each at Staples. Ends 8/31, in-store only, limit 10 while supplies last.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
In a world where ugly siding, leaky gutters, and inefficient windows are sapping homeowners of their will to live, one company must save us all. This year, join RGS Exteriors as it embarks on a mission to eliminate outdated home exteriors, one Utah home at a time. Every plank of old, ugly siding must be replaced. Every leaky gutter must be eradicated. Every inefficient, energy-sapping window must be vanquished. Once and for all. Begin your epic remodeling quest by calling RGS Exteriors for a free estimate. Discover how a heroic team of experts will save your siding, gutters, or windows for a fair, no-nonsense price. Call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or journey online to rgsexteriors.com. RGS Exteriors, coming soon to a home near you.
Are you within 5 years of filing for Social Security? Get this. 96% of Americans forfeit an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's all because they filed for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions, 5-time winners of the Best of State Award. If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. You know, for some people, filing for Social Security early could result in more net income in retirement. Discover how you could get the most income from Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. When we're trying to digest the news of the day, we have to remember that instant certainty is the enemy of truth. A flashy headline may distract you from the real issue and the important conversations underneath.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, a man extradited from Scotland to face rape charges here in Utah is now set to stand trial later this year. A judge ruled there is enough evidence against Nicholas Rossi to move forward. Second, UTA is starting construction on the Mid-Valley Express. The electric bus route should be finished by fall of 2026 and will be free to ride for the first 5 years. Third, nearly 3 out of 4 Utah homeowners have an interest rate of 4% or lower, and that's leading a lot of people who want to move to stay put. Right now, it's sunny and 79 degrees. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I felt this sense of gratitude when I was on my way in this morning, Dave, listening to Tim and Amanda, and I heard them reporting that the U.S. Surgeon General has issued a CDC advisory that parents are stressed. He acknowledges that we're stressed, and it's more than just, hey, you're stressed. Try to figure out a way around getting so stressed, but that it is impacting our mental health. It impacts our children. That's the domino effect of it. And he came up with a list of kind of government-backed solutions. I want to just say, I have a pitch. We're going to lay those solutions out in just a moment, but I have a pitch that this doesn't have to all be on the federal government to figure it out.
Yeah, in fact, I would say it has very little to do with the federal government. I love your suggestions. There's a few things. We stress ourselves out. A lot of stress is self-imposed. We put and heap expectations of what a really good mom does and things that really good dads will do, and we heap on those expectations, and we stress ourselves out. We also sometimes, because we stress ourselves out, we forget how awesome parenting is and how awesome kids are and how entertaining they are and fun. Because we're so caught up in our own feelings, we forget the incredible blessing they are.
I think some of this stress, and this was certainly acknowledged, comes from things outside of our control, and that has been the onslaught of social media. And how that has kind of taken on a life of its own, and how as parents do we manage that when we're up against the big behemoths who understand algorithms and other than just say, you'll never have a cell phone. I also think part of that has been the cost of living, the cost of housing, even in our own state. People are having a difficult time getting out of an apartment, a rental situation, and into a home that they can call their own, and they feel like they're not going to have to be shifting from neighborhood to neighborhood. So there are also the cost of daycare has skyrocketed since when I had my kids in daycare. It can be $1,000, $1,300 a month sometimes. So there are these external pressures that we're trying to deal with, and sometimes that requires us to take on a second or a third job. So parents, mom and dad are ships in the night, trying to juggle awful sleep patterns, and then kiddos get sick. So there's a lot of and some people have kids who need serious medical care.
Yeah,
it's
special
I feel
needs,
blessed in
no
a lot
question.
of ways. The things that we dealt with were broken fingers and fevers. We weren't living a life out at, the local children's hospital like a lot of parents do. And in fact, you and I even do a lot with Primary Children's Hospital. And we do hear a lot of because we know that there are families that are going through that. But the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney General, or the U.S. Surgeon General, very clearly, U.S. Surgeon General has issued the CDC advisory. And he has said there are several things that we can do, not only the government can do, but also employers can do, is that he pointed to childcare assistance through tax credits and subsidies. Now, you experienced this during the pandemic, and I remember saying it was quite helpful.
It was hugely helpful. We have a tax credit. We always have had, or at least my life, raising my kids, we've had tax credits. It's usually $1,000 or $2,000. Well, they jumped it up to about $3,000, $4,000 per kid, kind of depending on the ages during COVID. And it was enormously helpful. And they didn't just give it to you as a payment at tax time. They were giving you monthly checks.
Yeah. That's helpful.
It was, yes, because what it did, it allowed us to pay for stuff in the moment. Because so often when you just get the tax credit at the very end, in February or March, when that check comes, you're not really saving that for piano lessons in September. So getting that monthly check was enormously helpful, and it allowed us to do some things with our kids. And both Republicans and Democrats are showing a lot of support to increasing these tax credits. Kamala Harris has actually said $6,000 tax credits for mothers of newborns.
Okay.
That was one of her proposals.
Well, I think what I noticed with you, because my kids had long since aged out of this during the pandemic, was that you felt a sense of budgeting relief.
Yes.
Month to month.
For sure.
This could be one of the ways that the federal government could step in and say, let's reconsider getting back to that.
It's so tempting, but I experienced both sides. I experienced both the incredible help it was in the moment, and then I've also experienced over the last several years rampant inflation, where everything has cost so much more, and that inflation has been tied to large amounts of government spending. So I experienced both things, and I won't say that, hey, yeah, just because I really enjoyed it, in 2001, that we should be doing it now, because everything is more expensive because we've seen massive inflation.
What about this pitch for paid family leave? And I'm going to focus more specifically on paid sick time. That would be if you're employed and your employer doesn't give you paid sick time.
Yeah, paid sick time it's difficult because can you use it just for yourself? Can you use it for your spouse if they get sick, if a sick child?
I think it should be for kids too.
Yeah, and my companies that I've always worked for have included that. They say if your child is sick, you can use a sick day. What's difficult is how do you balance personal time off, like your vacation and your sick days? And should companies have to give you, a month off for vacation and then an additional 2 or 3 weeks off for sick time as well? That can become incredibly burdensome.
What I think is a problem for parents, and this is what leads to so much stress, if companies don't lean into, hey, Debbie's child has a 104-degree fever today, but we're going to make Debbie work anyway. And that is what I think is happening to a lot of parents. And so you pick up the phone to call your boss, and they give you grief. And I just feel like that's contributing not only to your work stress. So now as an employee, you're scared because you have to call in. So you probably lie to your boss about why you're, but on the other hand, your child is really, really sick and you do not belong at work when your child is that sick. Your child needs you. And so I think companies need to recognize that if you are adding to your employees' stress, you need to rethink that position and perhaps that policy.
And that is, I think, more of a cultural thing that needs to change, where we need to say, listen, I get your kids are going to get sick and we're going to be totally fine. Like, go ahead, take that sick day, no guilt trip attached to it as well.
One of the things I want to talk about here, Dave, is these are just some of the kind of the federal plans. Could they get involved with mandating, family sick leave or sick time for employees, and then also those child tax credits, and like you said, maybe evening them out over the years, or at least considering that program. I looked at this CDC advisory this morning, and there's like they issued like a 36-page advisory, and I'm like, I can sum this up in less than a page. We need a cultural shift in how we think of parenting and work-life balance. We need to make sure we're helping family members out. Like, for example, I'm an empty nester now. I don't have grandkids. But my mind went here when I heard this, is what can I plan to do as a grandparent if that day ever comes to help my kids and alleviate the kind of stress that I felt raising 3 kids, being a wife, running a household, running a family budget, working full time. What can I do to be, I want to say, just the National Guard of grandmas? In other words, swooping in even one weekend a month and saying Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, if you don't mind, are my time with the kids. They're coming to my house. The grandkids are going to spend weekend with grandma, and we're going to do all kinds of fun things. And then what is my one night a week to pick them up and do homework with them or watch them if they're infants, that I can then turn around and help you as a couple relieve some of your stress and go be together or get things done that you want to get done.
So are we looking for de-stressor solutions? Like, that's your solution. You're going to reach out and you're going to be super grandma and swoop in.
I don't think that's being super grandma.
That's pretty cool, grandma.
I think that's recognizing that I don't want my kids to go through the same level of stresses that I did juggling it all. What was your most stressful moment as a parent? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Your live calls next.
9:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour: the Salt Lake City Council has unanimously approved changes to some of the zoning rules around the Delta Center. This is the latest step in the city's effort to accommodate plans by Smith Entertainment Group to drastically change the area. KSL.com reports the state still has to go over the agreement between the city and SEG. Once that happens, the City Council will take a final vote on whether to increase the city's sales tax to help fund the project. The Salt Lake City Public Lands Department is out with its latest plans for Allen Park. The theme of the park will be Arts and Sciences in the Wild, and it will feature several art installations throughout the grounds, as well as better access to Emigration Creek. Public Lands planner Kat Andra says they're also planning to convert some of the historic buildings on the grounds, including Allen Lodge.
That is currently proposed to be kind of a historic museum space to tell the story of Allen Park and talk a little bit about the history, as well as some parks offices and a community gathering conference area.
The final public comment period will be open for the next couple weeks, but construction is not expected to begin until early 2026. Our top national story from ABC News: the U.S. Surgeon General releasing a new advisory this morning on the stress that parents around the country are feeling day to day. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy's report showing 48% of parents say most days their stress is completely overwhelming, compared to 26% among other adults without kids. Your money at this moment: the Dow is down 90 points. That's about 0.2%. We're at 41,159. Coming up, a beautiful day in store, sunny and warm. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Unless you've experienced soft water, you probably don't realize how awesome it is and why you need to make that investment to get it into your home. I went, maybe 5 or 6 years into my new home without soft water. Now, I'd grown up with soft water, and I didn't realize until I'd moved away and had a home of my own the reason my parents invested into a water softener. And when I bought my Connecticut water softener, they walked me through all the different places where you will see it and benefit from soft water in your home. Number one, your skin. And that's a big one for us. We have very dry skin in our family, and soft water has been wonderful. It's been so great to help keep our skin soft and hydrated. We don't have to bathe in lotion. The other one was your expensive appliances. Think of your water heater, your dishwasher, your washer. Those things are affected by the hard water, and they get worn out and will break down because hard water can do that with buildup and corrosion. So if you're interested in getting soft water into your home, give Connecticut of Utah a call. 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Everyone knows Labor Day's the best time to buy a Bullfrog spa. Start fall off with a new hot tub or swim spa for relaxation, therapy, and family fun. Bullfrog Spa's patented jetpack therapy system makes it great with personalized jetpack massage options. Now through Labor Day, get up to $5,000 off MSRP, a free water care system upgrade, and special financing. Save even more on limited scratch and dent models from our factory. Don't miss Labor Day savings at your nearby Bullfrog Spa's factory store today.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, traffic is still a little bit at a crawl southbound I-15 between the I-84 interchange and 5600 South and Roy. It's just about a mile. So it's adding about 5 minutes to your commute as you come out of Ogden into downtown Salt Lake. That was all due to an earlier accident. And then northbound I-15 as you come out of Utah County, you're also going to be below the speed limit from Bluffdale all the way into the Sandy area with a few more brake lights approaching downtown Salt Lake. Are you facing wage garnishments and threats from the IRS? Don't face the IRS alone. Call Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Another sunny and warm day today, a high of 87 degrees. Right now, it's 81. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
There was a CDC advisory issued, and it came as a surprise to me. And I think it was I felt a sense of acknowledgement. Parenting is stressful. And the CDC is warning and acknowledging that parents are going through a lot of stress raising kids. It's impacting their mental health and their well-being, and in turn can negatively affect their children.
I think my kids definitely can feel when I'm stressed. Like it emanates from my body, and they're like, "Is Dad okay?" Because I'm the terrible actor.
I know.
So they can feel that.
I know. I know.
Dave's stressed today.
Yeah, I know. I can tell too.
So,
how does that affect them?
And well, it obviously impacts them because they're worried. Like, why is Dad so stressed?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is self-imposed. I put stress on myself. But I think so often we talk about kids and the stress that they bring and how stressed we are as parents, and we're forgetting how awesome it is to have kids. And we forget the big picture. So often I think, if I don't have kids and I listen to the conversation that we have as parents oftentimes, we'd probably scare people away from having kids with the way we speak about kids, because it's always the negative. It's always the stress that they bring. And I wish if people could just peek like 5 minutes into how I really feel about kids, they're like, oh, I'd have 50 of them because they're awesome. But we do. We let it consume us, the stress.
I want to ask you just a second to lay out your most stressful moment as a parent. And also taking your live phone calls, or we are. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. What was your most stressful moment as a parent? I also think we have a lot of stressful moments we don't talk about out loud. And when we don't talk about these things out loud, it just piles on. We can internalize it, or we feel like we're alone. I have felt over the years that I was alone. I just did. I'm trying to juggle it all and get through my day, and you got things at home and you got things at work, and then somebody gets an injury, and you got expectations to have them everywhere, and the mom taxi's practically out of gas. And then my kids would call me from school, and I'd be downtown because I was working, and they'd need something, and he just felt like, oh, it does take a village, I need a little help. And so you lean on grandma or grandpa or the neighbor to help out. It always felt, even though we did have a lot of fun. I mean, there were still a ton of great memories. But you're kind of always waiting for a shoe to drop, right? And that became stressful. And then there's the lack of sleep issue when somebody wakes up in the middle of the night. And by the way, Dave, I just wanted, for the record, they always go to mom's side of the bed when they wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know if that happened in your house.
Yeah, that definitely
They
happens.
would
yeah.
literally, they would scare
2 inches from your face.
the daylights out of me with their sweet little breath, like, Mom, I don't feel well.
Debbie, every time I went into my mom's room when I was growing up and I was sick and I'd touch my mom's foot to wake her up, it was like I hit her with an electrical charge. Like she freaks out. She's like, what's going on? What's wrong? I'm like, I'm sorry. I feel sick.
The CDC advisory also came with a list of suggestions, not only government plans that could help relieve some of this stress. We talked about some of those earlier, like child tax credits. Maybe those are evened out over the course of the year, like they were during the pandemic. Also, sick leave, paid sick leave for parents when their kiddos get sick. Also, cultural mindset shift and acknowledging that parenting is stressful. And if your workplace is making your parenting more stressful, there needs to be some sort of maybe a cultural mindset shift on the part of employers. 801-575-TALK. What was your most stressful moment? Amy, hi. Do we have a live call? No, we don't have a live call. She's not with us. What was your most stressful moment?
Okay, I'm just going to set aside every time I taught my kids how to drive because that is stressful, teaching them how to drive. But most recently, I guess what pops into my head is my daughter. And stress doesn't just count for the toddlers and the young ones and the teenagers. Right. I've got adult children now, and my daughter just came home from a mission and from Paraguay. And that was a huge stress to me because of the stuff she wasn't telling me. Her health issues, the safety issues. I just found out after she got home, she left this out of the weekly story phone call, where she and her companion got chased by 3 men in the streets, and they full on had to sprint away, and they were luckily jumped into the ice cream shop for protection. That was where the protection was. The stresses of their physical safety, that is enormous. But then when she came home after serving 18 months and seeing the growth, she learned a new language. The confidence was incredible, and I would never trade that. But you want to talk about stress is every time she sent me a video of her in the streets and cars were passing her and honking horns and shouting out to her, that was a massive stress for me.
I would say my biggest stress is I didn't anticipate that my husband would be in training so often and away from home, like in training. And then he earned a second master's degree, which was awesome for him. I was so happy for him to be able to do that. But what that ends up doing, and I think about my situation was minute in terms of timeline. I mean, he was gone one time for 3 months and then another time for a couple of weeks at a time for about 1.5 years. I think about military families and how when somebody is deployed, one of the parents is deployed, what that does to the spouse. So on our text line, 57500, what's your biggest stress? Dinner. I know it's one of those I have to, dinner. I've heard about just making dinner and freezing it, then throw it in the crock pot if you want. I wish I knew about that before having my first baby. Well, here's what I did when I had my first baby. My grandmother, I just love my grandmother, but she sent me a book on how to make your own baby food. And
how did that go?
It added so much stress to my life.
Yes.
It was like, make organic baby food, and so I was running around trying to make my first child organic baby food on top of everything else. And this went on for a few weeks. And it's like, I cannot make one more batch of mushed carrots or mushed sweet potatoes. Plus, I was like, I don't even know if my newborn is getting, or she wasn't a newborn, obviously it was baby food, but I'm not even sure she's getting all the nutrients with Mama's homemade
Mama's homemade recipes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that, like I said, a lot of times we add that extra level of stress to our lives.
You're 100%
we have
right.
to simplify it, folks. Your kids don't need to be, I'm speaking to myself. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the mirror, Dave Noriega. Your kids don't need to be scheduled every single day. They don't need to be in every single program and after school and every sporting event and take piano lessons and join the orchestra. They don't need to do all those things. We can scale it back to only the most essential things. Our kids aren't that demanding. They would like to just sit around and kind of hang out with some friends, unsupervised, believe it or not.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night, Dee and I saw one of the very first performances of the Addams Family at Hale Center Theater. As we were walking out after the performance on the Jewel Box stage, Dee said, "This is my favorite performance so far on that stage at Hale Center Theater," and that is saying something. This is the story primarily of little Wednesday. She is not so little anymore. She's grown up, and she wants to marry a normal person. And bringing these two families together is really something, to say the least. One of my favorite scenes, Wednesday is agonizing over whether or not this is actually going to work. And she sings a song called Pulled, which is wonderful. But what's even more wonderful is she is joyfully torturing Pugsley all that time. There are production numbers, even great scenes for Lurch and Thing. Don't miss the Addams Family at Hale Center Theater, and so much more is still to come. Season tickets for next year, great performances this year. Go to hct.org for your tickets.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
It's me again, and of course, I'm at the annual Fall Extravaganza at J&J Garden Center in Layton. And what a great time to buy. Right now, all containerized trees, all shrubs, and all perennials are 20% off. You heard me right. J&J's entire inventory of containerized trees, shrubs, and perennials are 20% off their regular price. J&J Garden Center definitely has the best products at the best price, and most definitely the best service too. But don't take my word for it. Come experience J&J Garden Center for yourself. Take advantage of their incredible fall tree, shrub, and perennial extravaganza. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Gentile, then west 2 miles. You've got to see it to believe it. You really do.
Country grown to your home, J&J Garden Center.
Hi, can I help you?
You don't recognize me?
You look familiar. Have we met?
I'm your property taxes.
Oh, sure. You've gotten bigger.
Guess what?
Come on. No, you can't just give me a break.
Rising property values in Utah have led to increased property taxes. Some are struggling due to those increases, but it's time for good news. AARP Utah is here to help. AARP Utah has made it the top priority to connect qualified Utahns to our state's Circuit Breaker program, which offers tax relief to renters and homeowners. If you're over 66 with a household income below $41,000, you might qualify to save up to $1,200 in property tax relief. Don't miss out. The deadline to apply for homeowners is September 1st. For more information and to see if you qualify for up to $1,200 in property tax relief, visit aarp.org/UT. That's aarp.org/UT.
Well, I've reached another milestone on my journey with soda weight loss. It's 6 months since I hit my goal and let go of 70 pounds of fat weight. And in those 6 months, I've managed to keep it off and still enjoy all the benefits of my journey, including a new wardrobe, a new sense of self-confidence, and most important of all, a set of new habits that are healthy and that will last me for the rest of my life. This is what makes soda so amazing. Of course, it's spelled S-O-T-A. I've now been enjoying the benefits of soda weight loss longer than it it took me to let go of the fat in the first place. So think about, where do you want to be in 4 to 5 months? Start the program now and you could be down 50, 60, even 70 pounds by the holidays. Imagine showing your family and friends the new transformed you at Christmas. Check them out for yourself. Go to sotaweightloss.com. That's sotaweightloss.com and see for yourself why SOTA is #1 for client results and client satisfaction. SOTA stands for, say it with me, State of the Art.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, the Salt Lake City Council voted unanimously to change some zoning rules, further paving the way for Smith Entertainment Group to revamp the Delta Center and some neighboring land. Second, the Davis Education Foundation is adding a new teen living center in Layton to help make a dent in the hundreds of students who experience homelessness. Third, the mountain lion spotted roaming through Lehigh the other day has not been caught, and police are saying they will keep the current traps out just in case. Right now, sunny and 81 degrees in Salt Lake. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're already laughing because we know what we're going to be talking about here, and I'm sure so many of our listeners can relate, Dave. There's a study that's been put out. Oh, you know what I need from our producer, Caitlin? I need to know who did this study. I think it was like some mattress company or something like that. That's a good part of the story. So we got to figure out who did this study. But it found that most people know if their day is ruined by 8:36 a.m. in the morning.
That's amazing.
They know right down to the...
You've been up for an hour and a half, and you will know whether this day is going to be a disaster or not.
For you and I, though, my alarm goes off depending on what day it is and how I'm feeling the night before, between 4:30 and 4:45 a.m. So I pretty much know by about 6:36 in the morning if my day is ruined. And a lot of that has to do with how y'all are driving on the roads. Yeah. How about you?
I haven't really thought about that until I saw this. I've started to pay a little bit of attention to, okay, like, when do I know it's going to be one of those days? What's my trigger? What's it? When do I know? And I was able to pinpoint it.
Really?
For me personally. Like we've got a list. We'll give you a list of things, and I'm curious how many people are like me. If I can't find my keys, if I can't find my wallet, those are the 2 things.
Oh, yeah.
If I can't find my keys, if I can't find my wallet, I'm like, day's ruined. There's no coming back from this. It is the worst day ever. And it really does. It stresses me out. My heart rate goes up, so much so that I've put little air tags on every key in my entire house and in my wallet.
That's a great solution.
So it brings it down. I still stress out about it, because the little chirp that it does to help you find it is so quiet. My deaf ears can barely hear it. So it's still a stress, but it's lessened it a little bit. That's why I've been such a bright, shining beacon of joy for the last year.
Well, you came up with the best solution yet for that. I've been in that moment, and my home looks like, when something like that happens, when I can't find my keys, my home looks like it's been tipped over by a burglar by the time, you know what I mean? Like,
I will find these.
My daughter misplaced her keys one day. That was a couple of months ago. We were both so stressed because she's got one set and her car's a 2006, so you get the idea, right? It's like one of those keys you have to go make another set for. Oh my gosh, we tore the whole house apart. We still didn't find him. I don't know.
They were probably in her left pocket.
I was going to have to Uber her or something like that, or drive her to her job. So the poll, it's by the way, this survey is by, this is why I knew I'd love this, Avocado Green Mattress and Talker Research. Avocado Green Mattress. I've heard of purple mattresses. I see those shops, but Avocado Green Mattress.
You always make fun of avocado green toilets.
I do.
You're like, when I bought that house, it was the avocado green toilet.
I'm the biggest lover and supporter of avocados, period. So, the avocado green toilet. Okay, so the poll found that people typically experience 4 bad days each month. 26% of the 2,000 people surveyed said that if something goes wrong in the morning, their entire day feels ruined.
Okay. So once a week, less than I thought. I thought y'all had way more bad days, but at least once a week.
You're conflating regular bad days with bad hair days.
Yeah.
Okay, those are different. Bad hair days are not bad. Although bad hair days, we know, ladies, right? We know, can lead to bad days. Okay, so 20.
Is that one of the things? Is that one of the top 20 causes? Bad hair day?
I got the calic that sometimes just fights me. And usually it would fight me when I knew I had to be on TV that day, so I don't have time to rewash my hair. Okay.
Top 20
that is not a huge
causes
problem.
of bad days.
Wake up feeling sick.
Okay, yeah.
Wake up feeling sick for sure. Sleeping poorly throughout the night.
Oh, that's one for me.
That's like my Monday through Friday.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know what time I woke up? I woke up at midnight. 12. Actually, I thought it was like 4 in the morning. I woke up at midnight. I laid there for a while. Like I got to get up and get going. I just know it. I looked at the clock. It was actually, to be more specific, it was 12:36 a.m. this morning.
That doesn't make you happy? That's like Christmas morning for me. If I wake up, I think I have to get up, and it's nope, you got 4 more hours to sleep.
I had been asleep for 2 hours, waking up with a headache. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, headaches are a big one.
Losing your keys.
There
that's
we are.
25% of people are with you, Dave. Forgetting your phone at home.
The only time I've ever forgotten my phone as I drive into work, I flat out turned around and drove back and got it.
I remember because you were really late. We thought maybe there'd been an accident on I-15, and
I think it's like 15 minutes late.
No, but it's like when
Yeah,
one of us
forgetting your
doesn't
phone,
show
yeah,
up by
for
like
sure.
7:02 in the morning.
That's a bad day.
Debbie goes into worry wart mode. You've even said, stop it. Just stop being so worried about us. We're fine. We're just a little late into the parking garage. Okay, running out of toilet paper?
There's no way.
That's one of the things people say makes a bad day.
COVID was just one bad day for you because there was no toilet paper to be had.
Forgetting your wallet at home?
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah,
That
you
is-
flip around for that one too.
That is like, you did this once and you're like, hey, do you have $25 you can Venmo me or something like that? It was the weirdest moment.
Nobody had cash
weird.
at this station.
I was
or
like,
all of you are such Ebenezer Scrooges out there. I couldn't get $20 from you.
You literally in the show one day in the commercial, you're like, hey, I left my wallet at home. I'm going to go buy something off Facebook Marketplace. Do you have $20? I was like, no.
I don't carry cash for you. I carry cash, just no cash for you.
Sleeping through your alarm. Dave and I talking about things that make your day bad by 8:36 in the morning is when we know our day is going south. Sleeping through your alarm, you and I have admitted we both almost did this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a close call.
I did. I turned off all of my alarms when they finally went off.
I never turn off my alarm unless I'm standing. And yeah, I did it in bed and I fell back asleep. But luckily I woke up moments later.
How about this one? Oversleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
that's a huge stress.
I did
I almost never oversleep.
Oh, I did it once.
Because it will ruin me.
Anchoring the morning show.
Oh, geez.
Be here by
my stomach just
started
dropped
at
for that.
4:30 in the morning, and I woke up and it was like it was like 3:45, and it was on the 1-year memorial of 9/11.
That's a bad time to do it,
was,
Deb. It's never a good time.
I'll never
terrible
forget
time.
how I felt that day. I felt horrible, just in terms of like my tardiness, and given the magnitude of that day. I just remember driving in. I got here on time. I looked like a mess. I put my makeup on, I think, during the show. I mean, it was terrible.
Oversleeping, that is my number one.
Stubbing your toe. That's one.
It happens every Tuesday, so no, it's fine.
How about forgetting to plug your iPhone in overnight?
Oh. Then you got to carry around the charger all day? Yeah. This is a good list. Nice job, Avocado Green Mattress and Talker Research. The top 20 causes of bad days.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. The mountain lion spotted roaming through Lehigh the other day. Hasn't been caught yet. Police are saying they'll keep their traps out just in case. DWR told KSL the mountain lion was likely just passing through, but if there's additional signs it's hanging around, they'll step up the search. Utah has a dam problem, actually 101 dam problems. These are dams across the state considered to be high hazard and in need of some kind of rehabilitation or replacement. Michael Sanchez with the Division of Water Resources says the problem is the state allocates $3.8 million for dam repairs every year.
At the current funding rate, this is estimated to take about 120 years to upgrade all of the high hazard dams to minimum safety standards. So it's going to take a little bit.
The dams are evaluated on the condition of the spillway, whether there's seepage, how stable the slope is, and their ability to withstand seismic activity. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Israeli army has launched what it calls a large-scale counterterrorism operation in the northern West Bank. They're aiming to arrest militants and confiscate weapons. Tanks and troops were inside Jenin and Tulkarem with a firefight underway and explosions reported. At least 9 killed, according to Palestinian health officials. IDF says the dead are militants. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now on the day, 126 points right now, while the NASDAQ is sliding as well, down 195. Our lovely summer weather will continue till the smoke blows in. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is it. Our biggest Labor Day sale ever at Hot Tub Factory Outlet. It's happening this Friday through Monday. Save a massive 30, 40, even 50% off MSRP on Sundance hot tubs and swim spas. Yeah, you heard right. 30, 40, 50% off MSRP. Every size, every color. Choices are endless. And we're sweetening the deal. Be among the first 20 buyers and you'll get a $2,700 electric massage chair. Absolutely free while supplies last. When they're gone, they're gone. Every Sundance hot tub, every swim spa. Our savings are gigantic. Come see the biggest swim spa showroom in the state. We make it easy for you to say yes to your very own hot tub or swim spa. Time is ticking. Get to Hot Tub Factory Outlet next to Cowabunga Bay and Draper. We're even open on Sunday from 11 to 4. Don't miss this one. Hot Tub Factory Outlet. Make this Labor Day unforgettable.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We are finally at freeway speeds all across the Wasatch Front on I-15, both directions, trying to get into downtown Salt Lake or heading away from downtown. The only slowdowns we now have is when traffic merges onto different parts of the freeway from time to time, and anywhere you have a construction zone, you're likely to be just below the posted speed limit for safety reasons. But overall, we've got a good drive with no accidents reported right now. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, wildlife, excellent dining, and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Sponsored by the Utah Office of Tourism. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny with highs in the 80s through the rest of the week, and we could get some wildfire smoke blowing in from Idaho tomorrow. And right now, we're at 79 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We're going to talk about a homeless shelter that is planned for North Salt Lake. And the story appeared at KSL.com, and they are considering a permanent emergency shelter in North Salt Lake. Now, I listened to a good portion of the public meeting from yesterday morning up in Davis County, where North Salt Lake is, and there were a lot of residents and the commissioners who were listening to the residents' concerns. The residents laid out a number of different concerns that they would have about bringing a homeless shelter to their community. And I will say this, Dave, I clicked on that meeting to listen to it this morning as I was getting ready for work. And my experience as a journalist, having covered a number of these issues over the last 30 plus years here across Utah, is what I would anticipate I would hear is a lot of finger pointing and some yelling and some screaming. And that is not at all what I heard. What I heard is residents with concerns, calmly expressing their concerns to the county commission, and county commissioners who were engaging with the residents. And I was really pleased to see that that's how they were handling this, because as an homeowner, as a mom, I understand how you would feel about this coming to your neighborhood. But also seeing this from a political standpoint or a county commissioner's standpoint is that there is a newer state law in place where they might not have a lot of wiggle room to say, yeah, we're not going to have a homeless shelter in Davis County.
Yes, and we truly do all bear some responsibility for caring for the homeless. Salt Lake City has been carrying that backpack up the mountain for years, and we've been all too happy to let Salt Lake City bear that huge responsibility. More cities need to step up and help out. So as I hear North Salt Lake bring their concerns, I get it. But let's be totally honest. We are very NIMBY. We want all of this support to happen, but we just don't want it to happen in our backyard. And the problem is poor planning. And I'll explain a little bit more what I mean by that. Right. But I think poor planning is at the heart of the distress and the angst that these neighbors are feeling.
So I'm going to give you a taste of what I listened to this morning from the residents and also the county commission chair and his response. And it sounds like they have been listening to different communities about bringing a homeless shelter to, part of Davis County. And let me just kind of lay the groundwork for this. There is a state law in place since 2023, so last year, where counties with populations of at least 175,000 residents, this includes your county, Dave, Davis County, right? I mean, it's a big county, and there are a lot of people who live there. They're required this year to submit a winter response plan to deal with emergency shelter needs of those who are experiencing homelessness. And so, you can see where this is coming from Capitol Hill, and now county governments need to respond to this. And so Davis County is in a situation where they have to come up with a plan, and the plan is to replace, I think it was a former youth facility in the North Salt Lake area by the Foxborough neighborhood. Maybe you're more familiar with where Foxborough is than I am, but it sounds like it's a just really populated area with a lot of residents living there. And so this facility, this homeless facility for people experiencing homelessness, would go there. And then one of the residents pointed out, look, during a code blue alert, which we've had code blue alerts in place for a bit now, and they're relatively new, but
it's when the temperature drops. I think it's around 20 degrees or something,
Freezing.
15 degrees. It's cold. They give a code blue alert, which allows for more extreme and temporary solutions.
Right, they expand the shelter.
Yeah.
To accommodate people who are outdoors, to bring them inside.
Then after a code blue alert is done, they're allowed to stay there for 2 additional days in the event it gets cold again or the wind chill is below 15. They're going to be in our parks. There's a park 2 doors from my house. I don't want that.
So concerned that there would be overflow and encampments set up, or even people who are around the area who aren't in the facility during the day.
Yeah, and code blue, if we have a cold spell, it can stretch over a couple of weeks. Because it resets every time you have one of these 15 degrees or below, and this is wind chill, right? So it might be 25 with wind, and it resets and resets. So these code blue alerts can stay in place for not just a couple days, but a couple of weeks.
And then also the concern that, of course, Salt Lake City has had a lot of homeless people living here for a number of years. And frankly, Salt Lake City in the downtown area has dealt with this pretty much exclusively for several decades. And now, more recently, the facilities have opened up in other parts of the county. And then, of course, Midvale has had the family shelter for quite some time. But North Salt Lake residents who live in this area say, well, how will they know if people from Salt Lake City who are homeless aren't coming up to North Salt Lake?
What are they going to do to stop Salt Lake homelessness from coming up? Because you're not reaching the northern part of our district, but you are getting those very North Salt Lake people coming. And so how are they going to combat that?
And that's the difficulty of it, right? When you start expanding it out, and are people going to travel? Are you still going to have that kind of capacity? That's the struggle.
But the commission brought up homelessness is likely more of a regional issue. It is not just a city issue, a city by city issue. It's more of a regional issue. And therefore, if there's not enough space in the Salt Lake City area, it's like this is a regional issue. And he explained, why things are set up this way.
I think the state has set things up the way they are is because, like I said a few minutes ago, is that we always have 14 cities that think the 15th city is the best location.
And this is where I put it on planning. If cities and counties did a better job of planning and saying, hey, this section of land is zoned for a future homeless shelter, or this is an area. When I'm buying a house, I need to know that because I need to take that into account. A lot of people will have absolutely no problem knowing that a homeless shelter or some sort of resource center will be built. Other people will. But it's when you drop it into the middle of a neighborhood, really without any recourse for folks, it could affect property values, it could affect their safety. It's because these cities have not done a good job, I think, of planning beforehand and saying, this is a possibility, make sure you're aware.
I want to point out that we've been reaching out to state leaders on this issue throughout the morning here. Our team of producers has been in contact with the state, asking them, please join the show in the 11 o'clock hour to see if we can get more information about like this new state law. Will it impact other communities as well, and how this works going forward? So we are waiting for a call back, and if they are willing to join us, we would love to have them on to work through more of these questions with them. Straight ahead, there was an e-bike crash that sent 3 teenage girls to the hospital. And when I saw the front end of the car and also the windshield of that car, I was like, oh my goodness, teens and e-bikes, it just absolutely worries me.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Someone asked me, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. More than a dozen. All to keep me connected to my good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting. Xfinity knows the number of devices we connect to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds. For real. Now through September 21st, new customers can get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Plus, get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 monthly value included. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment taxes and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
This weekend, labor will be the last thing on your mind. Before you head out to your favorite lake, lookout point, or campsite, make KSL your first travel stop.
We're starting off the afternoon already with emergency traffic.
We have you covered with triple team traffic for the holiday weekend on KSL News Radio.
Nearly 70% of Utah's land is controlled by the federal government, severely limiting Utah's ability to actively manage and protect our natural resources. Our families, businesses, and communities know there's a better way. Utahns have been good stewards of our public lands for generations. That's why we're asking each and every Utahn to get informed, speak up, and learn more at standforourland.utah.gov.
Kids are back in the classroom, and at Central Bank, they understand the importance of forming good financial habits at an early age and encouraging kids to succeed in the classroom. Central Bank's Youth Smart Savings Account rewards students for great grades. Central Bank will reward your child grades 6 through 12 for every A or A- earned on each report card up to $32 per school year. They'll also match your child's opening deposit up to $20. And if earning a higher interest rate than a regular savings account isn't enough, they'll also let your youngsters choose from their treasure chest with each in-person savings deposit. Open a Youth Smart Savings account for your child, teen, or grandchild and teach them to save early. Central Bank's Youth Smart Savings Account is the smartest, hardworking children's savings account around. Visit them online at cbutah.com or in person at one of their 12 Utah County locations. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're in St. George, and Jenny found a home online that she really loved.
And then we went through it with our realtor. He started pointing out things that were going to just lead us to a money pit.
We would have been in this house $50,000 or more in repairs.
With the help of our realtor, we were able to find a brand new home for $100,000 less than what we would have been paying for one that was 12 years older. We thought we were going to save money not using a realtor, but in the end, our realtor actually saved us over $150,000.
Let an experienced realtor guide you. Go to myrealtorstory.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the cougar that's been spotted in a Lehigh neighborhood was spotted again, but wildlife officials say they're not too worried. Second, Israel has launched a large counter-terrorist operation in the West Bank. And third, fixing Utah's 101 dams that need repair would take a lot more money than the state is spending right now. 79 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
There was an e-bike crash. It happened in Midway, which is near Heber City. So we're talking east, Summit County area, just east of Summit County, or east of Park City, excuse me. Sends 3 teen girls to the hospital. One of them had to be airlifted by a helicopter. And we have photos from the Utah Highway Patrol. We're going to put those on our app right now so you can take a look at what this car looked like.
And it is kind of chilling because you see the windshield has almost a body imprint. Like clearly someone hit it and broke the windshield. The front end is, totally damaged. It is chilling. And it was because of e-bikes. Well, maybe it would have happened with a regular bike, but I think it's important to talk about e-bikes because e-bikes are awesome. I love them. I've ridden them. I see kids, adults, retirees running around on them all the time. I love that. What we don't have right now is enough knowledge and experience with them. What we don't realize, some e-bikes are very tame. Others are basically motorcycles. They're so powerful. And we have to have a better understanding of what age is appropriate. And there are some laws in place. We'll go over that. But, yeah, they can be extremely dangerous. And these 3 girls going to the hospital after crashing was terrifying.
And all of them, from my understanding, were on the same e-bike. Also read that they were wearing helmets. Let's ask Corporal Luis Silva of the Utah Highway Patrol to join the conversation. Good morning, Corporal. I hope these teenage girls are recovering. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I reached out to see if we can get an update. Last I heard that they were all still in stable conditions. It was a pretty serious crash, but fortunately all 3 of them were wearing their helmets, and that likely made a difference. As you guys described, the impact on the vehicle, if you look at the pictures, you can definitely see where the bodies hit the vehicle and possibly the head hit the windshield to crack it enough to leave a mark. So last I heard, though, that they are still doing well, they are alive, and are recovering.
So what happened? I mean, was this the, I guess it's hard to blame the kids, but is this the bike's fault? Is this the vehicle's fault? What happened?
Right. So, what it sounds like, what witnesses described is the 3 girls were all riding one e-bike together, and they attempted to make a turn, and then they crossed in the path of the SUV. Unfortunately, the SUV driver didn't have enough time to react or be able to stop in time before the crash happened. So it does look like the girls may have been at fault. And this is kind of where we want to bring that safety message in of if you're riding a bike, whether it's an e-bike or a normal bike, you want to make sure you're being predictable. We're going back to the basics of thinking about using your hand signals. Also utilizing bike lanes or bike trails are also a really good idea. The road that they were on did have a bike lane. So staying in that lane, and then checking your surroundings, using hand signals could have potentially made a big difference in this situation.
I also want to ask this question. Three teenagers on an e-bike? That sounds like the e-bike was over capacity for passengers.
Right, and very well potentially could have been. I'm not sure that specific e-bike, how many it's rated for. It definitely had at least 2 seats on it if you look at the picture. But that's also another good important tip for any rider to know is understanding the capabilities of your own bike and then understanding the power. I mean, maybe that bike did have enough power for 3 teenage girls.
I see.
But if it's not intended for that, then definitely by all means should not be using it in that manner.
Another thing that I've noticed, even on the e-bikes that I've been on, depending on the weight of the e-bike will affect the braking as well. So it may not brake as quickly when there's more weight on the bike.
Right, exactly. Yep. So understanding the capabilities of e-bike, normal bike, does your bike have gears? How long does the battery go? How fast does it accelerate? How fast does it stop? How well are your brakes operating? Important things for the riders to know and also drivers. For drivers to consider if you're driving near a bike, you could probably expect that bike's going to be able to turn and stop much quicker. So you need to be giving that bike appropriate amount of space and anticipating that it could be potentially crossing in your path.
Corporal, does UHP know where the girls were seated on the bike?
Not specifically beyond what you could just assume by looking at the picture that there was the main bike seat that you could imagine, and there's a bench seat directly behind it.
Okay. All right.
Because whenever I was running with 3 people, it was usually someone on the handlebars and someone on the pegs behind. But yeah, these seats are much longer, kind of those more extended seats.
A real quick question: did you say how fast they were going? Do you know?
No, we don't know how fast they were going. No.
And what about the car? How fast was the car going at the time?
I actually don't know that speed either. Sorry.
But no, it's okay. Appreciate it. We'll continue to follow up with you throughout the day on this. But yeah, we're showing pictures right now on our live app, our free KSL News Radio app. And also we broadcast live on YouTube. And look at the impact on the windshield of the car. And then we just showed a photo. There's the front bumper. Oh my goodness. I'm glad they're in, they're recovering at the hospital. I'm so glad they were wearing their helmets.
Incredible that they're wearing helmets because, you think, well, if we're loading 3 kids on bikes, are they being responsible enough to throw their helmets on? I'm grateful that they were because as you were showing those pictures, that, the lower third of maybe the lower half of that windshield is completely smashed and clearly there was a body and a head. You could just see the indents, and it is very scary.
And he brought to my attention something I didn't. Three people on an e-bike. The e-bike might be able to deal with that kind of capacity.
Well, they do. They have these extended, longer seats, kind of the old banana seats that we used to have, and then they have another little cargo area, usually it looks like a metal kind of grate that you can sit on as well. So you could fit 3 kids, sitting very snugly on the seat.
So you looked up some of the rules of the road when it comes to teenagers operating e-bikes. What did you find?
Well, this is crucial because I think as parents we're getting asked all the time. Our kids want these e-bikes. They're fun, they're powerful, but there's also an appropriate and legal bike to own. Number 1, kids under 8 in Utah, I was looking at the law just this morning, kids under 8 can't operate an e-bike. So that's just, 8 to 14s or 8 to 13, you can have a class 1 e-bike, class 1 or class 2. Essentially what that is, it's pedal assisted.
Okay.
There's also a throttle assisted for a class 2, but the limit is 20 miles per hour. So they don't go any faster than 20 miles per hour. So if you're 13, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you can be limited. You can drive an e-bike as long as it's under 20 miles an hour. Once you're 16, then you can have a class 3. Now that's where it's pedal assisted. It may have a throttle as well, and it can go up to almost 30 miles an hour. It's 28 miles an hour. But make sure that when you're purchasing that bike that it's the right size. There are small, medium, large, extra large bikes. Make sure it fits your rider because that's going to help with balance. Make sure it's the appropriate speed. And then I really believe this. There's got to be a lot of training on it because they are powerful. It takes longer to stop. They're maneuverable. You can get to places that you normally wouldn't be able to. So the e-bikes, they're fun. They're awesome. I love them. I love riding them. My wife also crashed on one and had to have her knee replaced. So we've experienced it. There's all sorts of different ones. So make sure you check it out. The question we want to take your phone calls. How do you feel about your kids riding e-bikes? Are you all in on this, or should we ban them like motorcycles for teens? Do you allow your teen to ride an e-bike? Let's take your phone calls. 801-575-TALK. Do you allow your kids, your teens specifically, to ride an e-bike? 801-575-TALK.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. 3 14-year-olds in the hospital after they were hit by a car while riding together on one e-bike. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson has more.
The girls were trying to turn near Main Street and 300 East in Midway. Utah Highway Patrol Corporal Luis Silva says all 3 were wearing helmets and suffered serious injuries. 2 girls were taken to the hospital in an ambulance, while 1 was taken in a helicopter.
Silva says none of the teens had life-threatening injuries. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The U.S. Surgeon General out with an advisory that says 48% of parents say their stress levels are completely overwhelming. ABC's Ariel Reshef has more.
34-year-old Caitlin Niles is a working mom to a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. She says she feels the pressure to balance her career and family.
There's so much pressure on parents to spend all of this quality time with your kids, like sit on the ground and play pretend.
Health officials warning it is vital that parents receive support.
That's ABC's Ariel Reshef. Your money at this moment, the market's having a down day. Dow is down 223 points right now. The NASDAQ is down 222. And our KSL weather looks like another beautiful sunny summer day. The smoke is moving in later this week. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Don't you love this time of year? Fabulous fall colors amongst the Red Rock Views and Cedar Breaks and Dixie National Forest. You should take a drive where you will no doubt enjoy 4 scenic highways, connecting you to the most amazing fall colors you'll ever see. Time to put the you back in Utah, because it's all about the journey you create. This fall, see you in Cedar City. Start your journey at this year's Utah Shakespeare Festival, now through the fall, featuring 4 incredible plays. Do you like nature? Take a hike, go mountain biking, or OHVing in Bryan Head. You'll enjoy many fun fall events, like the charm of an organic farmer's market. And be sure you include a visit to the best pumpkin patches in the West. You will definitely get it all this fall in Cedar City, putting the you back in Utah and Cedar City. To plan your journey and for Cedar City's updated fall color report, activities, and cool foodie places to go, visit cedarcity.com. cedarcity.com.
It is back to school time and a great time for you to set a good example for your kids.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to myself here too, because for years I used to eat, I was just addicted to chips and all kinds of other things that kept 40 extra pounds on me for most of my adult life. But then I started Soda Weight Loss, and I showed my kids you can eat healthy and still be happy, still eat the foods you like and lose weight and be healthier. This is Nick.
If you stick with this program, I promise you will lose weight. And this is coming from somebody that I couldn't even barely walk when I started this. How many pounds I was carrying was hurting my knees and my back. I have to say that I'm a true believer of this.
I'm a true believer too, Tim.
Yeah, and so is my daughter who lost 42 pounds. It's so much more, and how many times have we said this, than just those numbers on the scale. The weight really keeps you from doing the things you want to do in life, and you're not as hungry either. Go to SodaWeightLoss.com right now. Click on the Request a Nutritionist callback, and within minutes, they'll be on the phone to get you started. SodaWeightLoss.com, spelled S-O-T-A, and it stands for State of the
Art!
Hey, I'm Jake Harward. I'm a farmer, and folks often ask me how we are able to have the freshest corn all the way to October. That's easy. We stagger our plantings. For example, this field over here is ready to pick right now, and that field over there with all the corn stubble we finished picking a couple of weeks ago. Stop by our green roadside stands for our picked fresh every day non-GMO sweet corn, tomatoes, peaches, cantaloupe, and watermelon. Click online to harwardfarms.com for a list of our locations. Fresh from our family's farm to your family's dinner table.
Harward Farms. For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Ford, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, after a really rough morning commute, things have calmed down considerably. Right now, we're seeing good speeds on I-15 in both directions, northbound and southbound, from Springville all the way up into Ogden. No problems if you're coming out of Tooele County on I-80 or the 201 freeway. And you'll have a good commute working your way around the Salt Lake Valley on the east and west side belt routes. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny skies today with highs in the 80s through the rest of the week. Now we could get some wildfire smoke blowing in from Idaho tomorrow. Right now, 81 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We've been reporting on this e-bike crash. We were talking to the corporal from UHP just moments ago about it. It happened in Midway, which is, east of Park City, and these 3 teenage girls, 14 years old, thankfully wearing a helmet. Corporal indicated that they may be at fault for this because it looks like as though they turned in front of an SUV, and the SUV just didn't have enough time to stop. We're talking about the issue related to allowing our kids to jump on e-bikes.
And I will tell you, I love it. I love that kids are using e-bikes. I think it is a fun way to go out, get kids outside. There is a danger, but for years, the number one danger for kids has been regular bicycles. Mm. Now, e-bikes, I think, probably enhance that a little bit. And we've seen they're new. So a lot of the data that's coming out right now that shows how dangerous e-bikes are, it's because we have to deal with them and train kids differently. And maybe they need to pass a course. Maybe they do need to have some sort of training, formal training, when they use e-bikes, because you can get up to 20 miles an hour in, the snap of a finger on an e-bike. And kids, especially when we allow them to drive at 9 years old, like a 9-year-old can be on a 20 mile per hour electric bike by law. How prepared are they?
If something, were to happen,
do they know
control of it? Yeah.
Do they know how the roads work? Do they know anything about right-of-ways and how to be safe on them at 9 years old? That's probably pretty young.
Here's what UHP Corporal Luis Silva just told us moments ago about information that they were gathering from the crash scene.
3 girls were all riding one e-bike together. And they attempted to make a turn, and then they crossed in the path of the SUV. Unfortunately, the SUV driver didn't have enough time to react or be able to stop in time before the crash happened. So it does look like the girls may have been at fault.
And we've got pictures right now on our KSL News Radio app. Of course, we not only broadcast live by audio, but you can also see video of Dave and I here in the studio. But right now, we're showing those photos of the car. The front end is crunched, and the windshield. The windshield is shattered. It looks like maybe one of the girls went into the windshield. We do know, thankfully, that according to UHP, that They did go to the hospital, but they are recovering. So that is great news. I think it's also great news that they were wearing helmets. And I want to talk about kids and e-bikes. Look, my kids are too old to have had e-bikes when they were growing up, but they did have regular bikes. I do have a lot of examples of when I have encountered kids on e-bikes out where I live in the Daybreak area in South Jordan and beyond, in Harriman as well. And I'm sure you've had some experience as well. But we also want to hear from you, 801-575-TALK. Do you allow your teenager to hop on an e-bike, and why?
I would say yes, with the caveat that there's a lot of training with it as well, because this is the big surprise for me. And I just encountered this the other day when I was driving, as there was a kid on an e-bike. I had a hard time judging the distance because they travel so much faster than a regular kid on a bike. I'm pulling into an intersection. He comes shooting across the crosswalk. I didn't even pause. Didn't even look both ways. Just went from the sidewalk straight across the crosswalk. And I had to slam on my brakes because I had a hard time judging how far away he was. And he covered so much space so quickly. That is something that we're getting used to as drivers, and kids need to realize, oh, wow, I can get there in a hurry. And maybe the cars, we're meeting, in a dangerous way.
So your experience with that brought back, just flashed back about a week ago. I went over to the Walgreens in Harriman, drove over there to pick up some of my prescription eye drops for my glaucoma. Pulled out to turn left so I could head back home or head to Vasa to work out. I can't remember which one it was. And as I nudged out of the Walgreens, I realized, it just seemed like my view of the road and the oncoming traffic wasn't spectacular from where I was nudging out. So I looked to the left and I see these two younger kids. I don't know their ages, but certainly not older teenagers, probably mid-teens, on an e-bike, and they were on the sidewalk. And again, like your experience, I could not tell how fast they were coming down that sidewalk, but they were coming so quickly that if I had stayed out, kind of hanging out on the sidewalk just a wee bit, and they were on the sidewalk, I had to throw it in reverse to get out of the way because there's no way I was going to pull into traffic. I would have caused a collision with cars, and then who knows, maybe even these kids would have been hurt. So I had to scoot back real quick. Thankfully, nobody behind me pulling out of the parking lot, but they did not stop for me either. But it also just, to me, created a new dynamic there where I'm nudging out because I really don't have a good view of the oncoming traffic from where I'm sitting. I need to be able to turn left. But here I've got this e-bike coming at me with kids on it. They didn't stop. I've also had experiences while walking and running with e-bikes and kids on e-bikes. 801-575-TALK. Let us know if you allow your children to ride an e-bike.
We got a call from Stefan. Didn't want to be on the air, which we totally understand that. A little stage fright maybe sometimes. But Stefan, thanks for calling from Eagle Mountain. He said e-bikes need to be treated with respect as any type of device teens will use. Make sure you use them properly. And I completely and totally agree. I remember growing up, and my buddy had, and this is probably when I was 14 years old, he had an old dirt bike. It was like 80 cc's, not very powerful. And we had so much fun taking it into the field and driving it around. But we also felt like we were being a little edgy, because we weren't allowed to do it. But we were able to do it safely, and we had a ton of fun doing it. I don't want to discourage getting kids outside and having fun. And these e-bikes are not just road bikes. They have some have big fat tires where you can take them off-road, and it makes it a little easier to go on trails. And it opens up a lot of doors. I love it.
I intentionally walk when I have headphones on with one headphone off for a number of reasons, for my own safety. I'm conscientious, but also to listen to it for people that are sneaking up behind on an e-bike. You can't really hear an e-bike. That's another problem if you're a pedestrian. They're super quiet. And where I have almost had a few close calls, especially with kids, out on paths, out on the pathways out on the west side out in South Jordan, is they sneak up really fast. Sometimes they don't say, hey, to your left. And even if they do, it's when they're pretty close to me. So I'm like, which way is my left? Which way is my left? Yeah. Like I'm doing a shuffle, like I'm learning a new dance out there so I don't accidentally lunge, thrust my body in front of their e-bike. But they're going too fast. If they would hit me, they would get hurt. I certainly would get hurt. And some of them don't have helmets on. They don't have helmets on. So these kiddos are on these e-bikes. They're zipping along. Sometimes they're alerting pedestrians. Sometimes they're not. Oftentimes, they're not wearing helmets.
Well, and I will say with these 3 girls that crashed into an SUV, thank goodness they were wearing helmets. It seems like they're doing better. One had to be airlifted, taken by helicopter to the hospital, but thank goodness they were wearing helmets.
I agree. Straight ahead, homeowners locked in. What do we mean by that? You're staying putting off a move to a new home until the interest rates drop. Straight ahead, we'll have a live conversation with a national expert on this from Bankrate about interest rates. And so appreciate our partnership when we talk about housing issues and buying new homes and selling your homes. Appreciate the Stern team.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
When I joined Salt Lake City Fat Loss back in February, kind of shocking that it's been 6 months. I didn't realize that until I just said it. Yeah, it's been 6 months, and I've been so happy with the Salt Lake City Fat Loss Program. They said they had the answer. They had the secret to losing a pound of fat a day. And many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. I lost 57 pounds. I lost 25 in the first 3 weeks, and I felt incredible. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't as hard as I had built up in my head. And I paid for it, like you guys do. So I can speak to this. When you pay for a program, the accountability goes through the roof for me, because it was not like I was going to pay for the program and then just spend the entire time justifying and cheating on the program the whole time. So if you're interested, check out Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Their website is slcfatloss.com. If you use my name, Dave, you're going to get an extra $200 off the program. Just go to slcfatloss.com.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
Lowe's knows Labor Day calls for big savings. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $750 when you buy 2 or more select major appliances priced $396 or more. And My Lowe's Rewards members get 3 bags of premium 2 cubic foot color mulch for just $10. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 9/4 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, BYU football fans, come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all your tailgating needs. Macy's has great prices on all of your favorite game day items, like burger patties, made fresh dips, and more. Did you know that your favorite tailgate foods are also now offered through Macy's Catering? Macy's offers a wide variety of catering platters, from smoked meats to wings and even desserts. Catering is available to order online at Macys.com or in store. So, whether you're having a small or large party, Macy's has you covered. Never miss a deal when you sign up for the rewards program and emails to get the digital ad sent straight to your inbox each week. Come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your tailgating needs. Get game day ready with Macy's. Happy shopping.
Mr. Mac, suiting for every important chapter of your life. Weddings, prom, new job, any celebration, mission callings, and more. Mr. Mac is there to suit your needs with 9 locations or MrMac.com.
With interest rates coming back down, I bet the real estate market will pick back up in 2024. We're already seeing that, Tim.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter how the market is doing when you have the right team. So if you're looking to sell your house, now you want to downsize or you need more space, you need the Stern team.
The Stern team has taught us, I can think of a handful of things that I would worry about if I was buying or selling, but there are 100 details that are involved in selling a home, and they have lots of people that are handling every detail so nothing falls through the cracks.
And they have so many different options. I mean, I worked with Cammie there at the Stern team, and she was awesome. But if you need an instant cash offer, you can do that. If you need to buy before you sell, you can do that. They have flexible fees.
They also have people that they represent that are looking to buy a home, so maybe they can make that perfect connection within the Stern team.
So don't put off selling your house or buying a house because you think the market isn't just right. The market is right with the Stern team.
Go online to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern team.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, 3 teenagers riding a single e-bike were injured when they were hit by a car in Midway. Second, a new report from the Surgeon General says 48% of American parents feel their day-to-day stress is completely overwhelming. And third, the Salt Lake City Council has taken another step toward creating a new sports center development downtown. 81 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Priced out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Always appreciate the Stern team and their support. We've been partnering with them for the better part of this year, and we'll continue to do so to talk about housing coverage.
Yeah, if you want to learn your home's true value in just 30 seconds, you can visit sternteam.com to find out more.
We're talking about feeling like you're locked into your home and you're waiting for, interest rates to drop before making your next move. Mortgage rates right now sitting at about 6.42%. As of yesterday afternoon, maybe you can find a little bit of a better rate around, but if you're in a 3% interest rate situation, you ain't moving.
Don't look at me.
Oh, you did it.
Okay,
sold.
Go ahead. Listeners, you can beat up on me a little bit. Like, was this the worst decision of my life? Because I had a 15-year mortgage at 3.5. That's what I was sitting at. I flat out sold that bad boy, and I bought a new home. And my new rate is around 6.5% right now. So I took a huge jump. But my wife and I, we were looking at the home and, where we wanted to go in our life and make some changes and downsize a little bit. And we didn't let the interest rate dictate whether or not we moved. And the reason that was the case is because we thought these are high interest rates. We think eventually they'll come down. Oh. So maybe over the next, we're kind of gambling a little bit. We're hoping that over the next couple of years, the rate comes down and we can refinance. And then to kind of help ease some of that, we also bought down the interest rate. So we bought it down 2 points the first year, 1 point the next year. So we're gambling a little bit, but we're very much the family, and we're not the common people here, because 3 out of 4 Utah homeowners say they're not leaving their good interest rate. We were just that quarter of the people that said, I don't care how good my interest rate is, I'm packing up and going.
A chief financial analyst for Bankrate, Greg McBride. So good to have you back on the show, Greg.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I've heard rumblings that maybe the Fed might lower the interest rate in September. But you're the expert. What do you know?
Yes, they will start reducing interest rates beginning in September, and that's likely to continue through the balance of this year, much or all of next year as well. Mortgage rates have kind of gotten a jump start on that. You'd mentioned, Debbie, a minute ago, mortgage rates down below 6.5%. That's down pretty meaningfully. The first half of the year, mortgage rates were above 7%. So we've already seen a pretty notable decline. And then we do expect mortgage rates are going to trend lower. I think it'll be a bit of an uneven journey, but mortgage rates trending lower. So Dave may get the opportunity to do that refinancing after all.
That gamble might pay off after all. Okay, so here in Utah, nearly 3 out of 4 homeowners here in Utah that have that rate below 4%. They say they're not going anywhere. Are we seeing something similar happen across the nation?
Yes, and it's even got a name. It's called the lock-in effect. We have a housing market that, by and large, has been really constrained by limited inventory, especially since the pandemic. But even in the years prior to the pandemic, inventory had been much more limited than what we had seen in years past. And one of the big contributors to that over the last couple of years has been this lock-in effect, the fact that somebody with a 2.5% or 3% mortgage, they're not looking to trade that away, or they can't trade that away just for affordability reasons for a rate that was 6, 7, or even at one point we had 8% last year. So, but as those rates come down, and also there's this, the reality is we're not going back to 3% mortgage rates, right? So, I think there's a sort of a getting accustomed to where rates are. I think as you see rates come down, you see rates go below 6%. I think that'll be a tripwire for more people to say, well, okay, all right, we'll make the move now. You get down to 5.5%. I think then you see, maybe even a bigger wave do that. So I think, we will see that ease a bit through time and as rates come lower. But, there's a whole lot of uncertainty around that, right? No guarantees as to when and how much.
Bankrate's Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride rejoining the show. Always appreciate his expertise. We're talking about interest rates, mortgage interest rates, kind of where they're at, where they're going. And what's the sweet spot for my friend Dave Noriega here, Greg, to think about refiing? Would you say it's a 6.5% interest rate? Is there a sweet spot where people should look at, it's time I should refi and it'll be beneficial to me financially to do so?
If you can shave 0.5 to 0.75 of a percentage point off your rate, that's the point where it starts. You want to start looking into it. If you can earn back the costs of that refinancing, in other words, how long does it take you to break even? What's it going to cost you to refinance? And those monthly savings, how long does it take for that monthly savings to exceed what you paid for the refinancing? If you can break even in 2 to 3 years, then it's pretty much a slam dunk. So we're going to see that refinancing door open wider and wider as rates come down. I mean, even now, the average rate's around 6.5%, but if you shop around, the lowest rates are 6. I've even seen some below 6%, and that's without paying points out of pocket. So, pays to shop around. Well, if you're sitting with a rate of 7, 7.5, all of a sudden being able to refinance down to 6% or something like that, that's pretty meaningful savings. So I think there's an opportunity out there for people now if you've purchased a home in the last couple of years. But I also think that as rates come down, you'll see more people coming into the refinance market, as well as potential for repeat refinancers. Somebody that refinanced at 6, if they see rates drop down to, say, 5.5 or 5, they might be in the market to do it again.
Greg, give me a little bit of an idea when it comes to flexibility in mortgages. How willing is the lender to change up the years? Like, for example, if I had a 30-year loan, I've been on it for 5 years, I don't necessarily want to restart the clock, go back up to 30. Will they customize it and do like a 25-year loan or a 23-year loan?
Well, there are some that do that, but there's no prepayment penalty, so you can customize that to your own timetable. In other words, you could take a 30-year loan and pay it off in 23 years. You can pay extra every a little bit every month in order to pay it down more quickly. That way you preserve the flexibility. You're not locking yourself into the higher payment that comes with a shorter term loan. You still have the option of paying it down and paying it off on a timetable that suits your needs, but you've got a little bit more flexibility if there's some income variation or, if you decide to ramp up retirement savings contributions instead of paying down a lower rate mortgage, that type of determination.
Greg McBride, thank you for joining us from Bankrate, the Chief Financial Analyst.
I saw your eyes open wide when he said 0.5% or 0.75% could be a good time to start considering a refi. You're chewing on it.
It is. It's tempting because obviously the 6.5% is just not what I'm used to. I'm used to having that incredible rate, but it is very expensive to refinance a house. And there's a lot of costs there that you have to break it down and say, well, if it pays for itself in 3 years, but I'm moving in 4, is it really worth it?
True.
So you have to take in all those calculations because you don't just get to readjust the rate. They're going to hit you with a bunch of fees too.
I want to say though, Dave, you traded in an older home that you knew was in store for some repairs, maybe. Like we are with older homes, it happens, for a newer home, and so maybe you're saving a little money there too.
Yeah, we've loved it. We're super happy, even with our 6.5 mortgage.
Thanks so much to Greg at Bankrate. We also, of course, appreciate our partnership with the Stern team. The Stern team has been awesome. Oftentimes, Russell Fawcett is in studio with us, walking through the latest information about the housing market. So we'll look forward to the next time he joins us in person as well.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Salt Lake City Council has voted to take another step towards seeing a revitalized development around the Delta Center. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the story.
The City Council unanimously voted to change several zoning rules for the area, like how tall buildings can be. They voted to allow buildings on some blocks near the Delta Center, pending they pass a review beforehand, to be built up to 150 feet taller than the current tallest building in Salt Lake City. We do know Smith Entertainment Group wants to build a tower for housing near the arena, along with shops and restaurants. KSL.com reports the state now has to go over the agreement between the city and SEG. Once that happens, the City Council will have until the end of the year to vote on whether or not to increase the city's sales tax by 0.5% to help fund all of this. At the Delta Center, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Special Counsel Jack Smith has filed what's called a superseding indictment in the January 6th case against former President Trump. Smith and his team altered the nature of the charges to reflect the Supreme Court's ruling that granted presidential immunity for official actions. Your money at this moment, the market's having a down day. Dow down 142 points right now. The NASDAQ is down 175. And our KSL weather, another fabulous summer day today, but then we start to see some smoke blowing in. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night, Dee and I saw one of the very first performances of the Addams Family at Hale Center Theater. As we were walking out after the performance on the Jewel Box stage, Dee said, "This is my favorite performance so far on that stage at Hale Center Theater," and that is saying something. This is the story primarily of little Wednesday. She is not so little anymore. She's grown up, and she wants to marry a normal person. And bringing these two families together is really something, to say the least. One of my favorite scenes, Wednesday is agonizing over whether or not this is actually going to work. And she sings a song called Pulled, which is wonderful. But what's even more wonderful is she is joyfully torturing Pugsley all that time. There are production numbers, even great scenes for Lurch and Thing. Don't miss the Addams Family at Hale Center Theater, and so much more is still to come. Season tickets for next year, great performances this year. Go to hct.org for your tickets.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Boyd Matheson. Listening to Inside Sources is a little different from just reading the headlines because we're always going to get you into that think again moment. We have experts from around the country, across the world, and right here local to home that'll help us dive in and get past just the hype, the fluff, the fake fights, and the false choice so we can get into the news to help you connect the dots and make the news make sense.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Sinclair's Dial Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Jason Jones.
Well, the commute's looking pretty good at this point, unless you happen to be around Bangerter Highway and 201, but you're probably aware of all that construction mess that they've got going on out there now, affecting traffic in just about every single direction you can find. You're going to run slow through there. Otherwise, I-15 is looking pretty fantastic through Utah County, Weber and Davis counties, and the Salt Lake Valley. No problems if you're headed up to the canyons right now either, and also looking good out to Twilla. I'm Jason Jones, the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny skies with highs in the 80s through the rest of the week, and we could get some wildfire smoke blowing in from Idaho tomorrow. And right now we're at 81 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Presidential Indictment. In-depth coverage on KSL News Radio.
Well, Special Counsel Jack Smith refiled now a superseding indictment against former President Trump, and we're going to talk about this with KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas in just a moment. He retooled the other indictment because the United States Supreme Court issued a ruling that essentially gave former President Trump immunity in certain cases. So it looks like what Special Counsel Jack Smith has done in this case is he's retooled this indictment, Dave, to focus on the issue related to the election subversion case when it came to the states. So we're going to get more information from Greg Skordas in just a minute. But he faces this new indictment now.
And again, this is just, it never goes away for President Trump, right? He thinks it's a victory, thinks he's free, and then it gets refiled. So how much teeth does this one have? Greg Skordas joins us right now, our KSL legal analyst. Greg, I guess not surprising that he refiled.
Yes, and technically it's what we call a superseding indictment, which is another word for an amended charge. So the charges remain and the exact charges are the same. It's just that now the predicate acts, in other words, what the government is claiming he did in furtherance of the crime has changed. So before the government was alleging that he used the Justice Department and sort of, weaponized them to help him with the election subversion. The Supreme Court has granted him immunity with respect to his agencies, which would include the Justice Department. So the government can't rely on that anymore. They've got to rely on the facts themselves and not whether or not he used other federal agencies to further this, alleged conspiracy. And they're going to do the same thing, if they haven't already, with the Mar-a-Lago case, the Florida federal indictment, which Jack Smith is also involved in. So that's going to be altered as well to keep it within the framework of not using things that were within his presidential powers, which have now been excluded by the Supreme Court, claiming that he had presidential immunity for those acts.
So, Greg, my read of this is to work around the Supreme Court ruling where Jack Smith, as special counsel, goes in and retools that previous indictment, is to focus on the alleged acts involving the former president regarding the state electorates and, his ask, for example, of Georgia to find how many votes was it, Dave?
11,780.
And then so now he's dealing with this, and his team is dealing with this by focusing on what went on in Trump's interactions with the states. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, technically that's correct. And by the way, there is still the Georgia case. That's a state case by itself. And so the idea of presidential immunity may not apply. But yes, what they're doing here is saying, look, what you do with your own department, what you do with the federal government, what you would do with your agencies, your Justice Department, your officials are within your official acts as the president. So you're immune from that. The Supreme Court has said, hey, the president has to be able to deal with his agencies and his appointees and should be immune and not feel like he's going to be subject to prosecution for that. But that doesn't include other groups, like you say, Debbie, state agencies, other people for which he's not necessarily overseeing and part of his presidential responsibilities.
So it sounds like they're trying to tie this to his private, personal behavior. Is there something that we could maybe latch on to that says, oh, okay, well, this was clearly just Trump being regular citizen when he was doing this? Are there examples that he laid out, or is this to come?
I think both. I mean, the indictment already had a lot of language in terms of what he did personally. What they had to do was strike language that included reference to the Justice Department with respect to his Justice Department. So the indictment now has to rely on less evidence. Let's be honest. It's not as powerful. They can't rely on some of the things they did. But importantly, the charges didn't change. He still got these 4 counts related to the election, conspiracy, I guess, to overturn the election. But what they're saying is we will not rely on acts that the Supreme Court has now determined to be privileged by the president. So they've had to change their facts. Well, at least they're supporting allegations for the indictment because of the fact that, some of the things he did were within his responsibilities as president. And he had always claimed, hey, as president, I have to make sure the election is fair and impartial. That's something I have to do. I can use my Justice Department to make sure of that. And the Supreme Court has said, yep, you can. But there are other things that he did, allegedly, according to Jack Smith, that were not part of what you would expect the President of the United States to be involved in. And therefore, they are claiming he wasn't immune from those.
I would like to look at the timing of this because we're 68 days from the election. And I know that there's either an informal policy or maybe it's an official policy to be very aware that you're not interfering during the election. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, and that's a great point. So the indictment had already occurred. The indictment was already moving forward. It had been stayed and held up for a while this appeal was going on the presidential immunity while this decision was being made. So the Justice Department, or at least Jack Smith, the special counsel for the Justice Department, is saying, look, I'm not doing anything new. I'm just responding to the Supreme Court, which has told me and given me direction that I can't use acts that would be immune from prosecution by a sitting president at the time. So I think Smith's going to say, I'm not doing anything new. I haven't filed anything new. I just amended what I had previously filed to be in compliance with what the Supreme Court told me I had to do because of presidential immunity. Now, having said that, I think it's highly unlikely this case will get to trial before the November election. I mean, we don't even have a trial date set. In fact, he hasn't even been arraigned on the new federal indictment. He'll have to go in and say not guilty here sometime fairly soon. The judge may set a trial date, but given Trump's attorney's ability to continue to stay things and file appeals and motions and whatnot, I would say there's very, very little chance this case will get to trial before the election, November election.
Well, and Greg, I know, as many trials as you've been a part of. I know you know this, that they can waive an appearance. And it does look like in the CNN article I'm looking at right now that the prosecutors have indicated that they would waive the requirement for the former president to appear in court. Frankly, just my own opinion, I think that's probably the right thing to do. He can enter a plea from anywhere, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. They waived his physical appearance, but there still has to be some level of appearance. Right. Because it's a new charge, a new indictment, and a person has a right to appear if they want. It's their right. And Trump's saying, no, I don't wish to have to travel to D.C. to say the words not guilty. So especially where he's already done it before, it wouldn't be uncommon for a prosecution and a court to allow him to appear remotely to enter into that not guilty plea.
Greg, thanks for joining us. Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst.
Straight ahead, the U.S. Surgeon General has issued a CDC advisory for parents. You're stressed, and it's affecting your mental health. He is acknowledging that, and it's also having an effect on your children as well. So beyond that, he also went into some solutions that he has. And we're going to go in depth on those solutions to see if any of those float your boat, suit your fancy. Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. Take control of your window treatments with Motorized by 3 Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3 Day Blinds app. 3 Day Blinds has specialized in window treatments for more than 40 years, and it's the name people trust. At 3 Day Blinds, we have stylish and functional window treatments for any occasion. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
When the midday hunger pangs hit,
KSL's top story this hour.
make Utah's new news your lunch break companion.
Good afternoon, Maria. We do have delays.
Stay updated with in-depth reports on the day's biggest stories and updated weather. Utah's new news with Maria Chaleos. Weekdays noon to 1 on KSL News Radio.
I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, debunking 3 myths about fiduciaries. And you're going to be surprised about myth number 3. Myth number 1. Fiduciaries are too expensive. Not at Trajan Wealth. Our interests are aligned with yours, so we don't need to push costly investments. The more you make, the more we make. It's that simple. Myth number 2. They will only want to sell me something. Absolutely not. At Trajan Wealth, we have hearts of teachers, and it's our goal to educate and empower, not sell. And the biggest myth, myth number 3, fiduciaries are only for the wealthy. Not at Trajan Wealth. Whether you have 50 grand or 50 million, we know it was hard-earned and we'll treat it as such. Let's grow together. So, here's your opportunity for a 100% complimentary professional Q&A. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey BYU football fans, this is Mitch Harper. The long wait is over. It's almost time to kick off another season of BYU football as the Cougars take on Southern Illinois to start the 2024 campaign. And to get ready for the season, visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your tailgating needs. The smoked meats at Macy's are smoked on site with brisket, sausage, pulled pork, and the ribs are outstanding. Plus, they have easy-to-grab meals in the deli, along with fresh-cut fruits and veggies that are picked by Macy's team of produce experts so you can get ready for the game and enjoy. And the prices can't be beat on all of your favorite game day items at Macy's. Stone ground beef patties at $15.95, Lay's 5 to 8 ounce chips at $1.99, and Coke and Pepsi 12-pack 12-ounce cans at $5 for $20. Stay in the loop and never miss a deal when you sign up for the Macy's Rewards program. You'll get emails and the weekly ads sent to your inbox each week. Macy's. Happy shopping.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. Don't miss Cold's new Season 3, where I look into the unsolved disappearance of Cherie Warren, a woman last seen leaving her job at a Salt Lake City office in 1985. Police cast suspicion on Cherie's estranged husband and boyfriend, but never made any arrests or recovered Cherie's remains. Find Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Make sure you sign up today for the 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter. This is a free newsletter, and it is a collaboration between KSL News Radio reporters and producers and KSL5 Television's reporters and producers. I just got my copy sent to my inbox, and the top story is a very important one as we head into the Labor Day weekend, that Utah is exceeding the annual average of boating-related drownings. Get this newsletter today. A simple way to do that. All you got to do is text the word inbox to 57500. It's free, so text the word inbox to 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Salt Lake City Council unanimously approved new zoning rules for planned development near the Delta Center. Could include a skyscraper as well as sports facilities. Second, the special counsel in the January 6th case involving former President Trump has filed a new indictment that could satisfy the requirements of a recent Supreme Court decision. Third, many Utah homeowners have low mortgage interest rates, and they've been reluctant to sell their homes. 81 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, this morning, I was listening to Utah's Morning News, Dave, on my drive in, and the U.S. Surgeon General, they reported, had dropped a CDC advisory, actually along with a video, that parents are stressed. He's acknowledging it. We're stressed out, and it is impacting our mental health, and then in turn is impacting our children.
Raising children has always been a rewarding but stressful job. They're the usual difficulties of parenting: dealing with financial concerns, worrying about our kids' health and safety, and getting through the teenage years. But today, families must also contend with new challenges: navigating technology and social media, a youth mental health crisis, an epidemic of loneliness that is hitting young people the hardest, and a hyper-intense culture of comparison.
This is shocking to no parent in the world. Of course, being a parent is incredibly stressful, but it is also the great success of my life. I love raising children, and I think sometimes culturally we badmouth being parents, or we badmouth kids. We talk about all the negative signs of things, and we forget how incredible it is. In fact, I was looking at what some other countries do to honor mothers, and I came across a couple of things that just shocked me. Did you know that in France, they actually will award a mother the Medal of the French Family? If you raise 4 or 5 kids, you get a bronze medal. If you raise 6 or 7 kids, mom gets a silver medal. If you raise 8 or more, you get a gold medal. It's this prestigious Medal of the French Family.
Mm.
If you raise 8 kids, you get the gold medal. You got to raise them well, they say, in air quotes. You got to raise them well. In Russia, if you raise 10 kids, you get the Mother Heroine Medal. And that comes with a $16,000 bonus if you raise 10 kids in Mother Russia. So I think a lot of times we look across the world and we've forgotten a little bit that this is the great honor of a parent's life, is to raise kids. I think it's fantastic. But we sure focus on the stresses that kids bring.
Well, I think culturally we've also had a lot of expectations on moms. I'll just speak from a mom's perspective. I'm sure dads feel this too. I'm not a father. I'm a mom, so I can speak to it from a mom's perspective. where we have to be all things to everybody, and we get questioned why we aren't doing enough, and we get expectations thrust upon us from all sorts of different angles, and sometimes that comes from work, like you have to stay late or you have to be here earlier, or you've got an event that is so important to your child, but your employer isn't allowing you to leave at a time when you need to leave. There's also the pressures that a lot of families have been feeling for a number of years, especially over the last couple of years, of financial pressures where daycare is so expensive. There's a shortage of daycare providers. So what happens with supply and demand? The cost goes up. And then you're wondering if it's more cost effective for one parent to stay home. So you're trying to do the math every night at the kitchen table. And then there's the other issue of not only the impacts of social media, which is impacting a lot of young families, but also, when our kids are in perfect health, things are much better. And we do find ourselves, much happier and being able to go out and enjoy all of the joyful things that kids bring to us, whether it's taking them to the zoo or taking them out to the lake. But then there are families that don't have that experience where their children are chronically ill.
Yeah.
And I think what I have seen in my almost 30 years now of motherhood through, all kinds of ups and downs is I have to ask myself, where's the continued support for families, and not just a weekend of support or, you can have this one time off for your child's graduation. But where is the recognition that parenting is, at least in my view, my most important job? But I do want to be able to feed my family as well and afford to put a roof over their heads. So working has also been one of my priorities as well. I've enjoyed my career. But I think there's all these other pressures that when we say, we're going to, enjoy. Of course we enjoy our kids. Unfortunately, life happens as well, Dave. And the reality is we're at where the Surgeon General says where we're at, where a lot of parents are feeling weighted down and they're having a hard time figuring out how to get through their day.
Another part of this Surgeon General announcement advisory that resonated with me is that the parent stress gets passed down to the kids. And where I see it in my family is the stress of getting good grades. Are you going to go to good school? Are you going to get a job? The stresses that we pass on to our kids, we put some pressure on them to excel. It's not just enough to participate on the basketball team. Are you starting on the basketball team? Are you the leading scorer on the basketball team? Are you excelling? Oh, you only taken 2 AP classes? Why not 4? So the stresses we feel to be good parents, I think we can pass on to our kids and put the pressure on them.
I would say that there's several places, as you were talking there earlier about all the awards that were given out and all this. There were several areas that I was thinking through that I feel like I fell down in terms of managing my own stress as a parent. We talked earlier in the show when we were talking about this CDC advisory, which I appreciated. I was like, thank you for somebody for recognizing that parents are stressed and acknowledging that it is affecting our mental health. But there was also the pile-on effect, and I'll give you an example of that. Earlier in the show, I was telling my amazing grandmother, I love her, I miss her. She sent me, when I had my first baby, she sent me a how to make your own baby food at home book, and I was like, game on. I had, raw carrots flying all over the kitchen. In the meantime,
cooking them down to nothing.
Boiling the baby bottles to make sure they were permanently sterilized. Like, this is literally my kitchen when my kids were little was like a chemistry lab. You know what I mean? I'm just, but I will also say that I did not give myself a break. And this is where I hope, for what it's worth, for moms and dads out there, going through the McDonald's drive-through line once a week or running into Little Caesars Pizza and running out with 2. I don't know what they cost. We had a lot. We had our share of Little Caesars once a week and calling it pizza night or doing a Taco Tuesday. You please don't endure the guilt and the stress that I endured on that. Yeah, I just put a lot of pressure on myself to leave the news, whatever I was reporting on that day. And I was working for different television stations. I've actually worked at all the TV stations here in town. Nobody, I don't say that out loud a lot, but Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 13, and Channel 5, most obviously longer at Channel 5 News and here at KSL News Radio. But I would leave, I would run home, I would try to make dinner, and then sometimes I would have to come back for a 10 o'clock live shot. And we've all been there, right, with our jobs. And I resisted, and I felt like I was a bad parent if I had to swing in to one of these fast food places. Please relieve yourself of that guilt. Because when you get to this age where your kiddos are grown up, you realize that that's not what's the most important thing to them.
I have a family in my neighborhood. They have 8 or 9 kids. Every kid has a night to cook. And they straight up, this is going down to like the 8-year-old. And each kid has a night to cook. They prepare the meal for the family. And sometimes it's mac and cheese and hot dogs. Other times it's salmon. But that's one of the things that those parents do to help relieve some of the stress. It's hard to balance it all. You can't be everywhere and everything.
So another thing I did in my own home was I taught my kids how to do their own laundry by the age of 10.
Smart. Oh, that's a good life hack.
Yeah. And that was completely selfish on my end. I was doing laundry for 5, and folding and putting away. And granted, sometimes we had an avalanche. I called it, the laundry room was in avalanche conditions because we had clothes piled high and things hadn't been folded. But I taught my kids how to do laundry at the age of 10 because I was like, Mama cannot. This is one area where I felt like I was very successful in kind of saving myself throughout the week. Is you got to learn how to do laundry and fold it and put it away. And guess what? It teaches them a life skill that they're still using today.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top local story this hour. About 3 out of 4 Utah homeowners have an interest rate that's 4% or lower, and experts say that's leading people who want to move to stay right where they are. Katie Merritt tells KSL TV her family's been looking to upgrade, but
we just couldn't afford anything, even the ones that are similar sized houses. The only thing we could move into would be smaller than what we have.
Interest rates currently around 6.5%. One local expert thinks more people will be willing to buy when interest rates finally drop. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz are headed to Georgia for a bus tour. Before that, Walz spoke in Boston at the International Association of Firefighters. Walz making the case that Democrats want to keep unions strong.
When Republicans used to talk about freedom, they meant it. They meant it. Not anymore. These guys over there, they want government to have the freedom to invade every corner of your life.
Walz says unions need the freedom to bargain collectively with management without interference from government. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 193 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ is down 189. And our KSL weather, another beautiful sunny day before the smoke moves in. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hey, let's tell you a little bit about Master Electrical. You know Master Electrical because they've been helping you guys for so many years. In fact, they started out in 1954.
And they've got some exciting news, right? I mean, they have now joined Mountain Home Services. And Dave, you've talked about your experience with Mountain Home Services.
Yeah, they installed my furnace, and then they've done the service over the years. And I've just loved it's been humming along beautifully. So now that Master Electrical Service has joined Mountain Home Services, there's a lot of one-stop shopping here, folks. You can get your electrical needs taken care of, as well as your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing.
All with that upfront pricing guarantee, no hidden fees. Also, remember, 100% satisfaction guarantee.
All you have to do is reach out to them. It's Mountain Home Services. Their website is mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or give them a call. They want to hear from you. 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
All right, football fans, it's time to tackle blood shortages.
How can I help out?
Call ARUP Blood Services to donate.
You don't have to be a Cougar, Ute, or Wildcat. Just a UtahBlood.org fan. Help ARUP tackle Utah hospital shortages. Local patients need you to donate. Plus, there's all kinds of cool things ARUP has to thank you. Amazon gift cards, a rowing machine, a drone, spirited teas, a smoker, a barbecue, and a paddleboard. Team up to tackle blood shortages this August with ARUP.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Jason Jones.
And we continue with good speeds on all your highways and side streets along the Wasatch Front. We're not seeing any accidents out there, no delays to speak of, other than, of course, the construction that's going on. Bangor Highway and 201, you got traffic messed up in all directions. It's not really tragic right now because there's not very many cars on the road, so just a little bit slow through that area. Beat Labor Day heat and cool off during Park City Gallery Association's Friday Art Stroll. 11 participating galleries featuring multimedia art exhibits. Find what speaks to you. Visit ParkCityGalleryAssociation.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for sunny skies with highs in the 80s through the rest of the week, and we get some wildfire smoke blowing in from Idaho tomorrow. 81 degrees and sunny right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, there's this study that got released that found that most people who were surveyed know if their day is ruined by this exact time every morning, 8:36 in the morning. You know your day is just going into the toilet. And sometimes, honestly, some people said running out of toilet paper was the reason for their day to be ruined. Honestly, that's one of the responses they got.
That's easily triggered right there.
Yeah. What ruins your day?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm trying to process a little bit. So assuming that you're up by 7 o'clock, so maybe an hour and a half into your day. So for you and I, that'd be like 6 o'clock, 6:30, where I'm trying to figure out all these things that they're listing. This largely happens within that first hour and a half.
Yeah.
So what ruins me, and this is why it basically never happens, oversleeping. If I oversleep.
Oh, past your alarm?
Past my alarm. If I get a phone call, it's sort of like, why aren't you at work? It's only happened maybe one time.
It's happened when you and I have been together. I don't.
Yeah, it happened one time.
Professionally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was.
Yeah, I remember
brutal.
that. I thought for the worst.
Oh, I was sick.
My mind always goes down a dark hole. Honestly, if anything ever happened, it'd be like I would have the search teams
Yeah.
out for everybody I've loved or worked with. But yeah, I remember you didn't show up, and we were calling and calling. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
I think
It's like,
the alarm didn't go off, or I didn't set.
No, I
You
remember what it was. You just totally forgot to come to work. You got here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You literally walked in the newsroom, and it was literally like, oh my gosh, your hair's a mess. And you just said, I was sitting down, like eating, reading headlines, and I didn't realize so much time had passed. And you forgot to jump in the car and get to work.
It wasn't even an oversleep?
No. It was like you just lost track
I remember that.
of time.
Oh, that's true. That's totally what it was.
It was like the worst day of your career.
Yeah.
You came in here like exhausted. It was like,
I don't know what happened.
I thought we were changing a flat tire on the side of I-15. You've
I'd
been in a
forgotten
horrible
about that.
crash. Something had happened.
Yeah.
Maybe you were at the hospital. I was going, maybe he's at the hospital with one of his kids. This is terrible. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that'll ruin my day.
Okay, so
Yeah, that'll ruin my day for
this
sure.
survey by Avocado Green Mattress and Talker Research is a talker. Here are the top. Well, we can't get through all 20. We got through some of them last time we talked about this. We got to get through more of them. Waking up feeling sick.
Yep.
35%. That is actually the top reason people start to have a bad day. Sleeping poorly throughout the night.
Yes, that's a big one.
That's me every
It doesn't
night.
ruin me for the day as long as I have immediate access to Diet Coke.
Oh, mine is coffee and usually espresso. Waking up with a headache.
Yeah, feeling sick for sure.
I don't. That does not set the tone for a bad day for me. I've had fewer headaches. I've noticed that. I used to wake up with headaches all the time. I've had fewer. I don't know why. It's just
Less stress.
Maybe. I know what I think it is. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't quote me on this. Don't come at me on this. I'm drinking a lot more water.
Oh,
I'm drinking a lot more water.
hydration. There you
yeah,
go.
Maybe I don't know. Losing my keys.
That triggers me.
That, and it also triggers like a funnel cloud through the house for looking for keys. So now you got a whole new set of problems. Everything's tossed upside down, right? And you have a solution for that. I
Air
love
tags. Folks, invest in the $25 per little air tag. It is the best money you will spend. Put it on your wallet, put it on your keys, put it on your phone, put it on everything. You don't need that money as much. It is better than any therapy session.
I think some of this stuff is 99.999% about routine. So if you've lost your keys, it's because you've gotten out of your routine and you didn't put them on the coffee table or whatever, or you didn't put them at the, whatever, on the washer and dryers you walk through in the laundry room.
Yeah, this is a really good point. And I think a great solution, as you're reading these, I'm trying to think, are you checking this off your list before you go to bed?
Yeah.
Because if you are making sure that the toilet paper is filled and your keys are there and your wallet is there and that's just routine, then you're removing one of the biggest stressors that is going to ruin your day. This is a great tip.
So this is also like forgetting your wallet at home. Now, I don't suggest for you leave your wallet in your car, but I would suggest put it by your keys.
Yeah.
Right? Don't throw it on the nightstand and then your keys are by the refrigerator and then the two of them don't get married in the morning and now you are just, a mess.
Yep.
Forgetting your phone at home, your wallet at home, sleeping through your alarm.
Yeah, oversleeping. I have set 2 alarms for my entire career. I always have my Alexa and my phone both. You only do 2? Slacker.
There was one time I used to, especially when I was morning show reporter. Whew, there was 6 alarms.
Backups on your backups.
And they were the ones that were the old-fashioned ring.
An old jazz player, Jock Vaughn, would travel with something like 6 alarms.
Mm-hmm.
Literally 6. He would pack them in and he would light them up and he would set them.
Because you can't sleep at night fearing that your alarm won't go off.
Exactly.
I want to get to this one. Credit card is declined. I don't know who y'all are shopping
That ruins your day?
8 a.m. Your credit card is declined. But most
Starbucks hates me now.
People are saying, I guess that would be it. Yeah, you're going through the drive-thru and your credit card is declined. It does make you go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what is going on if somebody's stolen your credit card number. So I can see that. A partner is in a bad mood. Ooh.
Never experienced that because I'm always up before everybody. Nobody is up in my house at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay, this does, I don't know if it ruins my day, but it definitely sets it off on the wrong trajectory. Is sometimes I'll swing through Starbucks and get coffee for the team, but not for you. And so I'll have like 2 or 3 things of, grande coffees, hot coffees in my front seat. And there's just no great way. I mean, cup holders are fine.
Transport that.
Okay, Greg Scortis was filling in for you one day on the show, and I texted him, and he placed his order with me. And so I had 3, one for Caitlin, our producer, one for me, one for Greg. And they're sitting in the front seat of my car. Do you know what I did? I know that this is going to go trajectory throughout my car. It's just the center of gravity. Somebody in front of me smashes on the brakes, etc. I know. The night before, designed a special carrying box from a cardboard box that I'd received a couple of days earlier from Amazon for another product. I designed a special box with high walls, and I taped in.
You did not.
I did. I pulled over in the parking lot. I taped it down, and then I seat belted. No, this is just to save my day.
How much do you hate spilling coffee? You MacGyvered your entire car around an anti-spilling device.
It worked.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Hi, Doug Wright here with one more little experiment you can do at home. In a pan of water, all you have to do is stir in limestone, calcium, magnesium particles, and then heat that whole mess up on the stove. And you know what, on second thought, not such a good idea, because limestone, calcium, and magnesium particles heated in water will clump and stick to your pan like concrete, which incidentally is exactly what's going on inside your water heater. Think about it, limestone, calcium, magnesium, that's what makes hard water hard. And trust me on this, if you live in northern Utah, your home has hard water. So call Connecticut of Utah. I'll give you the number in a moment. They'll test your water's hardness for free, and they'll show you the patented design features that make Connecticut water softeners work better than any other. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. To learn more, call Connecticut. It's 801-576-8600 or log on to softwaterutah.com. And call now while it's on your mind.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America, N.A.
Everyone on the road is trying to make it to their destination safely. You can help by staying aware of the large trucks and buses around you. They take longer to stop, have large blind spots, and make wide turns that require caution from other drivers. It takes all of us working together to share the road safely. Learn more at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA.
Spend less time at the post office. With Formax and Mint mailing systems from Les Olson IT, you can quickly, accurately, and easily process your outgoing mail and even save on postage. Fold your documents, stuff and seal your envelopes, print addresses, weigh and measure to apply proper postage, all with the click of a button. With multiple model options available, you're sure to find a Formax solution and Mint mailing device that perfectly fits your business needs.
Les Olson IT.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here, representing Utah's priorities in Congress and providing top-notch constituent services at the heart of everything Team Moore does. We've had great success helping Utahns with expedited passports, visa processing, veterans benefits, immigration petitions, retirement issues, tax returns, and much more. If you need help navigating a federal agency, including the IRS, Social Security, the VA, Immigration Services, or Medicare, please give my office a call at 801-625-0107. That's 801-625-0107. We're also happy to help coordinate U.S. Capitol tours, take your comments, and provide legislative updates anytime. I also want to invite you to sign up for my weekly e-newsletter. We are soon entering what is called the political blackout period leading up to the election, meaning my office cannot reach out with updates and announcements unless you are subscribed to our communications. So sign up today at blakemore.house.gov. It's our honor to serve you and your family in Congress. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Escape the heat this summer to beautiful Park City. Nestled in the heart of the world-class Deer Valley Resort, the Stein Collection offers 3 opulent luxury properties to choose from. Corporate Director of Marketing, Jeannie Lambert, joins us with more.
The Stein Collection Deer Valley is where perfect legendary experiences come to life. Our properties include Stein Eriksen Lodge, the Chateau Deer Valley, and Stein Eriksen Residences, all located within 5 minutes to historic Main Street in Park City. Each Stein Collection entity sets the standard for authentic hospitality and impeccable service. The collection's winning heritage and welcoming personality are the natural extensions of Olympic gold medalist Stein Eriksen, our founder and namesake. Year-round, guests are invited to escape into the very finest mountain getaways, where they enjoy the delights of gracious hospitality, relaxed luxury, and awe-inspiring views. So, join us this summer. It is absolutely the perfect time to experience Stein's. Same room as the winter, but at less than half the cost. On top of that, there are special local rates available. To book a stay, visit our website at steinlodge.com or call us at 866-996-0034.
The Stein Collection is more than just a brand. It's a promise and commitment that these destinations will deliver perfect, legendary experiences every moment of every day. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Utah homeowners who bought their property when interest rates were low have been reluctant to sell. Second, more smoke from western wildfires will be blowing into Utah. And third, the Democratic candidate for vice president told firefighters in Massachusetts that he and Vice President Harris want to keep union bargaining rights strong. 81 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're going to take you live in just a second to Edmond, Oklahoma. Because there's a controversy brewing in this. How many people live there, Dave?
About 100,000.
Okay. So in this community of about 100K, there is a high school senior there. It was told that he couldn't fly the American flag from his truck.
They said that it was just against policy to fly the flag, and that they said they never allowed it, but they never had a problem with it last year.
You need permission to fly the American flag in Oklahoma? I mean, I get it if you don't want to fly like a University of Texas flag. That would make sense. But the American flag?
News Nation national correspondent Rich McHugh is in Edmond, Oklahoma. So bring us up to speed on this controversy. And my understanding is that the district is getting some pushback from parents and students who showed up with American flags at school.
Hi, guys. Yeah, this is quite a story. So August 21st, this student, Caleb, who's been flying these flags out of the back of his pickup truck for well over a year, maybe 2 years, says he was told by school administration he could no longer do it. And it was based on because of safety and potentially the safety of others. This caused outrage, obviously, in the community here in Oklahoma. The community rallied in his support Monday morning, 2 days ago. Dozens and dozens, maybe even 100 cars, all flew flags out of the back of their, pickup trucks and out of somewhere in their car, and kind of paraded through the parking lot of the school in a show of solidarity. I spoke with students this morning, and they say, look, this is not something you imagine for Oklahoma, one of the most conservative states there is, and they're outraged. Like, this is the American flag. Some of the students I spoke to were like, they have family in the military, and it's a symbol of the freedom. And for them to be suppressing it is just wrong. Parents I spoke to agree. In fact, I haven't been able to get anybody to speak to me who agrees with the school. The school put out a statement supporting why they chose this and saying basically boiling it down to safety and the possibility that flags would potentially harm others in the parking lot. People here aren't buying it. There's a number of local lawmakers who are urging the school superintendent to reconsider this policy. I know the state superintendent is saying changes are coming because this is not acceptable. But that's where it stands right now, and we're just a few days into this.
Rich McHugh is from News Nation, and he is in Edmond, Oklahoma. Is the argument that no flags are appropriate, or is it specific to flags with a message? Have they narrowed that down at all?
They put out, well, in speaking with Caleb this morning, he said that what was relayed to him was like, if you fly your flag, the U.S. flag, we have to fly all flags. And he's saying, look, this is the American flag. This shouldn't be in the same category as other flags. And it's hard to understand the position of the school. It's a very kind of they walk a fine line between saying we can't have these flags up. They don't want to create an atmosphere that would disturb others, or something about safety. It's hard to understand, but that's their position, and they say it's a rule. The people here, the residents, community say it's not a rule. It's not. This is guidance. Like, this is something that's new, because clearly he's been doing it for the past almost 2 years. And it just stems from him being patriotic about America, nothing else.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he said when he spoke, and perhaps this was to you.
They said that it was just against policy to fly the flag, and that they said they never allowed it, but they never had a problem with it last year.
So yeah, I mean, it's like you said he's been doing it for a couple of years now, and this is the first time it bubbled up. Do you know if maybe the district got a complaint from somebody that made them take this kind of action?
I asked. I said, why now? What happened? And nobody I spoke to seemed to know. They guess that here it is. It's a political season, and people aren't liking that we're in the parking lot with the American flags, but when you think about that, like that's hard to comprehend on its own. That people wouldn't like the American flag if they're Americans, but they're baffled here. They're outraged, and they're digging in. The parents, the children. Caleb now has a bunch of buddies who all have now put flags in their pickup trucks, and they're kind of just proceeding in defiance of these quote rules.
Rich, thanks for joining us. Rich McHugh from News Nation. He's a national correspondent, and he's in Edmond, Oklahoma. What a story. Thanks, Rich.
What's your thoughts?
I have absolutely no idea what they are thinking. Like, listen, I don't have problems with any flags, right? Just because you allow the American flag, which may open the door that you have to allow other flags, that's just what happens. I don't care if it's a pride flag. I don't care if it's an American flag. If you want to fly a flag, then that's great. We are fine with differing opinions and differing lifestyles and what people support. If you want to fly a Trump flag or a Biden, or it's not a Biden-Harris flag anymore, it's a Harris-Walz flag, I don't care. Fly whatever flag you want. You can express yourself. I have no idea. Do we have something similar here in Utah? We got to look into this. Do we have similar policies in Utah that would prevent kids from flying flags and parking on school?
Well, I don't most high schools and public schools fly American flags on flagpoles at the school?
And even this high school has said that. They said, we have a very prominent flag outside of our school. We fly the flag outside of our classrooms. We do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. This is what's happening. But no, if you put a flag on your pickup truck, that's crossing the line.
I would be curious to see if this does end up, depending on what the district and the state's school board or state superintendent decides to do, if this does, end up in court. Quite often, what I've seen in my experience as a journalist is that these kinds of situations end up being sort of test cases for what can and can't be allowed. at school and in schools. So my thought was, I do wonder if this is going to end up there where courts in Oklahoma will have to decide.
Absolutely. And let's use a little common sense here, folks. I mean, if you consider the American flag to be a partisan flag, a dividing flag, something that is divisive and that will create, pro-American flag folks and anti-American flag folks, that this is the symbol of our nation of unity. It makes no sense to me. I cannot imagine what they're thinking. And we got to find out if we have a similar policy here in Utah.
Yeah, and if Oklahoma, the powers that are in place there, the leaders that are in place there decide to change their views on that. But yeah, this high schooler says he showed up to school and he was told.
They said that it was just against policy to fly the flag, and that they said they never allowed it, but they never had a problem with it last year.
Had to take the flag out of the back of his truck, which he's had there. You just heard from News Nation reporting live for a couple of years now, and then suddenly it became controversial, and then he was told to take it down, and now his friends and parents are rallying in support of him, showing up with flags at the school. We saw a caravan of cars with flags flying off them in some video that we were watching on News Nation.
Don't mess with Oklahoma and their flags. Trust me, everyone in that parking lot is going to have an American flag flying tomorrow.
Straight ahead, Maria Chaleos up next with all of your day's news, of course, including former President Donald Trump facing some criticism for